And we are live. Welcome, everybody, to Hot Takes, a Vaporwave talk show featuring myself, Young Shiro, and Skeleton Lipstick, my best buddy.
Hey, thanks, best buddy. Appreciate that.
Thank you so much for being here, everybody. We got a lot of fresh faces in the chat, along with some regular viewers. We want to remind everybody that the top priority at all times is the questions and argument topics and debate topics that you have for our guest, 3D Blast, Vaporwave DJ, artist, and internet personality. 3D Blast has agreed to join us tonight, and if you
what
have ever
a lovely
been,
thing.
Very lovely. If you've ever been online, if you've ever listened to Vaporwave, or if you know anything about DJing or the streaming movement that has been all the rage in the last couple of years, you've inevitably seen or heard their work. So we're very excited to have them here tonight.
Yeah,
please keep
absolutely.
us.
Wonderful producer, hilarious human being, charismatic as fuck. If you don't know 3D
I would
Blast,
kill to have
get
3D
to know
Blast
him.
energy.
Get to know this. Get on that blast wave. But I'm pretty sure everybody in the chat probably already does. But maybe if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify or whatever, don't get left behind. You know,
Everybody keep
be part
in
of the
mind,
Henry wave.
If I love that you guys are filling the chat up with emotes. Those float across the screen. And then, of course, if anybody's too loud or too quiet, if music's too loud, too quiet, it's probably a little too loud right now, please let us know. Keep us in the loop. And finally, before we go into Skeleton Lipstick's recommendations of the night, if you feel so led, you can type in the chat, !donate, and you can slip us a little donation if you enjoy Hot Takes. And if you want to invite a friend or tweet or post about us, all that love really goes a long way, and we appreciate you from the bottom of our hearts. Let's kick the night off with some recommendations from Skeleton Lipstick.
Okay, first thing I'm going to recommend is this new compilation on Global Pattern called Deserts, Mirages, and Oasis. It is sort of a theme Vaporwave, Slushwave album, a solar punk sort of album too, based around the concept of deserts. The idea of the effects of global warming, the idea of the effects of, adaptation to living in the deserts, just any way of interpreting the concept of desert, whether that be from a social point of view, political point of view, or a dreamlike point of view. And there's some really interesting... Oh, and Lux has already posted the link for it.
Shout out, Lux. The link.
Yeah, it's a really, really engaging compilation of some very interesting sounds and artists, and there's a really cool track on here that I really liked by Croy Baker called "Leave No Trace," which was very interesting, interesting work of synthesis and sonic textures, but also is a really great. I mean, all the tracks are really great, but then I also really enjoyed this neon orange song, "Secret Water Map." It's just a really interesting journey. And it was an interesting concept album, and I really enjoyed it, and I really liked the trip that it brought me along, and I highly recommend it, and I think you guys will like it a lot. It's just, I'm always interested in new ways of interpreting the visual world through music, and
Absolutely.
This was a fun one, and it's something that you can really nicely get lost in. You know, the idea of a mirage in general, the idea of...
We love
being in this
album.
world where everything is sort of initially appears blank and barren, as a desert might from a superficial point of view. But the deeper that you look into it, the more it's filled with either life or death, and also it's a blank canvas at the end of the day to sort of impose your perceptions upon. And so I thought that was a fun idea for a compilation album. So I do recommend that. Another album that I want to recommend is, hold on a second, let me pull it up again. Let me see if I'm trying to get the link in the chat.
Hey, anything you could do to boost your volume levels while you're at it? You went quiet again.
I'm low again? I wasn't low a minute ago.
You sure weren't.
No. I don't think so.
It's what it is. I've got you as high up as I can on my end.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I thought wasn't I just fine a minute ago?
You were, but hey, didn't mean to cut you off. Don't worry, I got it on my end.
No. So there's this new
I just
album.
want level of people to hear you is all.
Yeah. Am I sounding okay in the chat? You guys can hear me? No? Yes? What?
I think I got you. I think I got you where I need you to be. Anyways, didn't mean to cut you off there, buddy.
No, not at all. Not at all. So there's a new album or newish album by Vaporwave slash wave artist Illusionary. And I can't really pronounce the name of the album because it is in Japanese characters, but it's a really, really fascinating, I guess, slush wave album that I really enjoyed a lot. Basically, it's just the thing about a lot of slush wave is, and with any genre that has a specific, or with any subgenre that has a specific sound, is sometimes it does get difficult to surprise people with what you're going to expect. You're always going to like it, you know what I mean? If you're into that sound, then you'll always find it comforting and you'll always enjoy it. But it is sometimes difficult to surprise people when there's sort of an established way of doing something or an established feeling for it. And I thought this one did a really nice job at taking it in some interesting directions. There's a lot of really cool melody patterns that are sort of explored. There it is. They're explored in the in the samples, and it's a really cool tape too. The tape itself, which I really wanted to buy, but I believe is sold out, has just a wonderful art design for it and a wonderful art direction for it. And just listening to it does kind of put me in this mood of being in some sort of world that is kind of being puppeteered by a higher being, something moving pieces around me that I can't see, but I know is there. And that's kind of the interesting thing about really good slush wave is the movement of the swirling patterns and the control that is kind of being felt around you. What initially kind of feels like a whirlpool or that's sort of just
You with us? Hey, man, I think we lost you. Which is unfortunate because I was getting a beautiful image in my head of your descriptors there. If you can hear or see me, you should probably leave the Discord and come back. Because you got sucked. Thanks, Quiz. You got sucked into that whirlpool you were just describing. Everybody, we appreciate your patience while the good doctor reboots his... Oh, wait a minute. I think
you got me?
Back.
You got me?
Yeah, you're back. You were talking about... I love how descriptive you are with your...
Oh, no.
Keep it rolling.
Really good album that is working with flanges and phasers.
He got slushed out.
And reverbs to create that sound texture. It's like it should initially sound like kind of like it's just like you're stuck in a whirlpool and there's no code to it, there's no control over it. But this is something that you can really feel the meticulous movement of the world around you, and that's why I really enjoyed this album. It's a good one. I highly recommend it. Check it out by Illusionary. And the last thing I'll recommend is I just got this vinyl, and it's a great album by our buddy Wizard of Loneliness.
Wizard of Loneliness.
Yeah, Last Words. What a fun album. The thing about Colin in general is he has he's such a character, but he has such like a varied taste in music, and he's got a lot of things I think that influence him that he doesn't often have a chance to express in some of his other albums, and he certainly does with this one. He certainly does explore a very personal side of himself and a little bit of a darker side of himself because Colin's got that like goth streak in him, and it's fun to see him explore that in this album.
You mentioned he loves metal music.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I saw he was wearing the "Man is the Bastard" T-shirt at
the tape swap.
And I saw this, and that's great. Mm-hmm. So highly recommend if you have. I think a lot of people have probably checked out that album by now that come to this chat, but if you haven't, check it out now. It is on vinyl, and it's a very fun little study into the sort of the darker
Talk about fun
or
internet
more
personalities.
Sort of like a nice exploration into the more melancholic, pensive side of Colin, and yeah, absolutely. Well, happy early birthday, Wizard of Loneliness. Wizard of Loneliness? What's happening right now? Is it Quiz or what's his birthday?
Apparently, if I'm reading this correctly, Lux, Quiz, and A. Greg all share a birthday. Or did I read that wrong?
Greg, Quiz, and Lux all have the same. Really? Wow.
Yeah,
well,
unbelievable.
Happy birthday.
Someone correct me if I misread that. Also, I guess this pop filter is low. It's making it to where people can't hear me. Oh, no, A. Greg
I hear you fine.
I misread that. Okay, y'all can just correct me in the chat. I just have to say, I love the fact that anytime I describe music with my recommendations, I always try to like compare the music to something that somebody might have as like a frame of reference, or I just like reference genre names and buzzwords, and you always paint a picture of where the music transports you, or like the visual image you get in your head when you listen to the music. I think that's super cool.
Oh, thank you. I think what you do is super cool. I mean, I think that there's different ways to describe music and make recommendations, and I think it's great that we both do it in different ways.
100%. At the end of the day, I think one of the most beautiful things about our scene is the ability to paint pictures with like sometimes no words whatsoever. Not that all vaporwave is necessarily instrumental, but that music that's so evocative that it literally transports you to another realm with absolutely no influence from any sort of like lyrics, to me is just the coolest thing. And with that being said, I want to go ahead and drop a hot one, and it's a kind of a two-parter. I want to talk about attending vaporwave shows or just DIY like independent shows in general. And this may come from a place of privilege, but I feel like it is customary when you attend a show, and even if you're friends with the people that are performing, that you pay your dues so that your friends can get paid. Everyone likes to be on a guest list. Everyone likes to be like a plus one. I've been a plus one, right? And I appreciate it. Anytime that I was, but at the end of the day, we're in a DIY scene with a lot of working class people that oftentimes travel to play shows at a loss or just breaking even, really just for fun. And anytime you go out of your way, first of all, thank you for all of you that go out of your way to attend those shows. Your support is incredibly meaningful, but I've just been in a couple spaces where I feel like, I don't mind paying $5 or $10 at the door to make sure that my friends get paid. I don't think that's such a crazy concept. And I always try to, of course, buy a drink or two. Sometimes people get paid based on the drink sales. Even I know some people, like, I want to say former guest Groovy Kaiju told me one time, Groovy doesn't drink. And it's not a secret. And he'll buy a drink anyways. And just to make sure that, like, he does his part to make sure people get paid. I think that's honorable, and if you can, I think you should. And I also want to say to these venues out here, right, that take a chance on our scene, right, and our off the wall kind of left field performance. Anytime you're in one of these spaces and something about the way that they operate doesn't sit right with you, like if they're not giving away water like they should, or they don't have their AC on, or they're operating in a fashion where there's just too many people, they're way past capacity, and they don't seem to have any regard for the safety or comfort level of their clients, right, the attendees. I don't know, maybe this is a wild one, but I think we need to like start making some sort of a short list of these venues that aren't really doing right by their clientele, if you know what I mean, because I've been hearing a lot of things, and I'm not going to drop any names, about just various venues that really just mistreat the people that come to their shows, and that just doesn't sit right with me. Anyways, I know that was a little all over the place, but what do you think about those two statements?
Yeah, I always absolutely, pay the cover, because that helps support everybody. It's important. It makes these things work. It helps your friends who have traveled from far away to play their show, to support the venue, to continue to produce those in general. Yeah, I think that should be a thing, and that's always an issue. True, and that's an issue with dance parties too. People really do like to be on the guests, and it's just like,
yeah,
man, like we need to pay people. We really want to pay people fairly. Just pay a little bit of money. I agree with, and I like that Aaron does, buy a drink every once in a while. Because like when I play these venues at, or when I set up shows at the clubs, it's really nice to help the bartenders, to help everybody out, because that's a community too. And it's true.
Very
I
true.
Actually don't drink a terrible amount either, but I usually always buy a drink as well, just to have something. And I agree. Sometimes it's not even always the venue themselves that's got, not doing what they need to do, having water. Sometimes it's also like the staff that might not be very receptive. And sometimes there's like, occasionally you go to there's a venue that might have like shitty bouncers that are
very
mean
true
to the actual performers or the audience, or like they're just like people that don't care about the sound guys. So yeah, I think keeping an idea, like a list of appropriate venues, receptive venues, is something that's pretty traditional. It's been going on since DIY shows began. You know what I mean? I think that's a great idea. I've been very fortunate with Terminally Chill to be able to do it at the Barbary, where people are absolutely lovely and super kind and receptive, and I do look forward to that coming back again. But I don't think that there's anything controversial about what you said. I think that that's a big deal. And
I mean, we're all performers here, so I'm keen to know what Randy thinks as well. But I don't think those are such crazy concepts, and I'm not trying to like shame anybody. That's for damn sure. No. But if a venue is if it's coming close to abusing their clientele, I think they need to be put on some kind of shit list. I see what you said though, Greg. You're right. There are a lot of times that we don't have a lot of options.
Yes, exactly.
Not really sure what to do in that situation. Maybe Pacific Plaza, Alex would have some good advice.
Yeah.
You are talking into the side of your mic instead of the front, sir. That's why we're having trouble
Hello?
hearing you. There we go.
Oh, I think it's probably because I keep moving my head around like that. Yeah, I'll stop doing that.
Both sides of you are your good side, but if you got to stick that right.
Yeah, it's the microphone right over here, though. I got you.
What do you say we go ahead and bring on our guest? Are you ready?
Oh, yeah, man. Please, let's bring on Randy.
All right, guys, the moment you've been waiting for. Let's bring on 3D Blast. Go ahead and unmute yourself, buddy.
I did, guys.
Very cool.
Me.
Let me turn you up.
Guys.
Oh my God.
I'm quiet now.
Really here.
I turned you down because
good.
I had Chris turned up so high. Go ahead, let her rip. What do you think about what we had to say?
Oh God,
You played a lot of shows.
I was listening. So much. I was listening to it, and what you guys said was so true. What were we talking about?
I don't know, man. I think that it's not. I don't think it's a bridge too far to pay the cover and buy the drinks so that your friends get paid.
Maybe it depends on how big, like how small are these shows. Obviously,
True.
If, like your $5
Obviously,
is
we're
like
talking
half
about
of the money they're gonna make, anyways. Yeah. I don't know. You guys have friends show up to your shows? This concept is foreign to me. So
a few of them, and that's why I feel kind of bad because the people that do show up, I love them. I want to hug them. I want to buy them all a drink for getting their butts out of their seat and getting to a venue on a night that may not be convenient. Because I get it. I'm an introvert. I like to stay at home. But then I'm like, but can you pay to get in too? Because these kids got to get paid. I don't think it's
the difference on our views is that I'm not necessarily a nightlife guy. So I don't know. Honestly, you guys are talking about
Wait a
buying
minute. Are you
drinks.
saying you don't go out to shows, Randy?
No, unless it's like a show, if it's like a concert. But small shows around here, I don't know anybody or anything.
Don't tell me you're like Christ and you don't like live music.
No, I do like live music, but I don't.
It's just got to be good, huh?
I don't have any indie friends that I really care to go see.
Damn, that's a hot take.
I used to hang out with a pop punk band back in 2013, and that was really fun. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that was a really fun summer. Shouts out, Shown Nuisance. They're long broken up, but still, it was a really good summer. And that's the closest I've been to DIY. I mean, I've been to a few, and I've paid the whatever.
So what you're saying is there's no vaporwave shows in Detroit?
Not really, not anything regular or anything I'm going to or people or ones I'm playing where people are like, bro, can I get in?
Right. I mean, I don't know.
I'm very much an online guy. If that's not obvious.
Well, I mean, you got that Denon, right? That aren't you the one that put Frank Javc on?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think.
Have you ever seen their decks before, Chris?
Randy's?
Yes,
Prime
the
Go,
ones that
yeah.
Randy and that Frank have.
I've seen them in live streams before. There's been like a live stream or two where they've had the camera on the decks, and well, Randy actually has converted me to like getting to wanting to get Denon as my next deck if I ever have to get a standalone set. Like he convinced me because of all the fun little accoutrements that come with them. Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you are primed for live performances. I think that
Randy is definitely prime for live
the days of
using the
Vaporwave
word
shows
prime.
not happening in Detroit are numbered.
Yeah, using the word prime is very funny there. If you're a Denon fan, you get what that means.
Yeah.
Those
Sorry.
are the products.
I'm glad you
prime.
picked up on that.
Prime. Hey.
I'm not a big Denon guy, but I would be lying if I said I hadn't looked into them, because as soon as I saw what Frank Javsey was packing, like, oh man, I hope nobody clips that. But anyways, it was like a year ago in Long Beach. I was like, that is the strangest set of DJ decks I've ever seen. It's like battery powered. The platters are like extremely small. You don't have to have any sort of USB stick. It's just.
Yeah, you don't have. Yeah, if you have an internal, if you have it all
but...
internal, I do personally.
Okay.
But...
Well, it seemed to me that he, I guess, just saved
he might
it
have
all on
an.
a hard
I don't know.
drive.
He might have an internal thing or an external thing hooked up in the back. Yeah, I think I'm familiar with Pioneer. Obviously, that's what I had at home. I had like an all-in-one system, one of the cheaper ones, just to practice. Had the RX-1, and then.
Oh, sick.
After Econ 1, everyone was like, "This is it, the live show, boom!"
Right.
And I played the show in Chicago, and I brought my decks, and I had to check them on a bus.
Damn.
Oh
Like,
no,
all right, that's fine. And then
Damn, you took the bus, bro?
It was weird. They were like, "We're paying for travel, and most of the people that do it travel by bus." And I was like, "Okay."
Shit.
So I was like, "What?" Again, it was just Detroit. It was a bad idea. Anyways, but I remember being like, "Well, I can't move with this. I can't take a train with these."
Right.
And so I was like, I'd rather go smaller than go bigger. And so I invested in the Prime Go, and I was like, yo, these kind of fucking... It's like a briefcase.
True.
It's really cool. And it does the same thing. Like, fuck it. I don't know.
Quiz wants to know where you got that big sticker in the back.
It's a flag. He knows that. Shut up, Quiz.
Yeah, come on, Quiz. Quiz is one of our regulars. We love Quiz. We stand Quiz and hot takes.
Quiz. This is the best. I was supposed to go see The Color of Pomegranates with Quiz last night, and then I got stuck in New York because I didn't realize. I forgot it was 9/11 yesterday, and it was like impossible.
I definitely don't want my episode to spend time talking about Quiz.
You know what?
Okay, so
no 9/11.
So you'd rather talk.
Yeah, we can talk about 9/11, but not Quiz.
Fair enough. All right. So
light
up the chat with questions for Randy and Chris.
Wait. All right, Randy.
You go ahead and start your deep digging.
All right, so Randy, no, I just want to ask. So did you I wasn't able to attend the tape swap, but from what I saw, the footage I saw, seems like that you were tearing it down. You were leading everybody in your patented new Twitch dance stream, which is sweeping the nation right now. If you guys haven't seen the side-to-side dance, you want to get on that now, because it's only a matter of time before it's the next Macarena, and people are just doing it in the stands of all sporting events for the rest of the year.
Hey, speaking of Quiz, we got to give him credit. Him and Maddie were leading the charge.
Oh, really?
Side-to-side dance, the back and forth.
Wow, amazing!
Damn. Some real ones there.
So, did you have
So true.
Yeah. So while he's roboting out, I'll just ask, how do you feel about that? That it's kind of
roboting out. Oh shit!
Oh, hold on, Chris, he's back.
Is he back?
Well, actually, hold on. I am, but I'm going to have to grab my charger for the computer, so just talk for 5 seconds. I think that's why I'm roboting. Hold on 1 second.
That could be.
What was about,
I just want to know,
side?
how do you feel about the fact that it's blowing up?
So, I guess should we give context if
Yes.
anyone doesn't know? Basically, a lot of future funk artists and vapors, I guess they're all future funk and me, were commissioned by Riot Games to do songs for League of Legends.
Okay.
And one of my tracks specifically got a lot of love, weirdly.
I actually did not know that part of it. That is sick.
Yeah, it got a lot. I don't know. Like, I mean, I follow them. they posted a lot about my track specifically. They posted like every other day with like a GIF with the song, or again, they did the dance track.
Somebody on that team is a big 3D Blast fan.
I mean, I hope so.
So did you use any sample-based material for those commissioned
Nope.
tracks?
None of it. None.
I imagine that would probably be a little bit scary to...
You couldn't. Obviously you couldn't. The whole point of those is
they
they're
told
supposed
you
to be
couldn't,
like,
I got you.
yeah. The whole point is they're supposed to be like creator friendly, right? So
For sure.
you couldn't. I'm trying to think. Like, there are small things that I've kind of snuck in there
Right.
that were like, I get they're not.
Little
I didn't sample like a
inoffensive,
track,
unobtrusive
but,
tidbits.
yeah, but like certain. I asked about like, can I use? Because I was like, well, you know, my whole thing is like little video game samples, like little.
Yeah. Just
little
sound effects here and there.
Yeah, and they were like, probably shouldn't, and I was like, all right, fair enough. There's a few really small, subtle ones that I did, which is
Always
why
pushing the envelope.
which is why side to side specifically, I tried to make them myself. Which is why
That's
a lot of
fucking
people,
cool.
I think one of the best thing I heard about that song was like, oh, what did you sample for the vocals? Because they sound cool.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm
asked
like,
you that on the phone. I asked you that on the phone one day.
and I was like,
And
that
you're like,
didn't,
well, that's me.
none. That's me, baby. I made them sound like
That's
they were.
crazy. It sounds so much like you ripped that from some obscure, like, I don't even know, like 70s or early
Yeah, the skip
80s.
to my loops or something.
Skip to my
Yeah,
loops.
it's crazy,
Yeah.
man. So, what do you think about the idea of at some point, not now, but maybe eventually, like translating like a 3D Blast live show? I mean, you've done the tape swap,
Yeah, for real.
It went down very well. Would you ever, would you like think about that in the future?
Well, what do you mean? Just like a live show or live set?
Like a whole live, like a live setup, a live show, a live setup. I mean, for live stuff, and you do see things like, oh come on, am I here? Good, right? You do see things like what happened last weekend, right? With that pop up in LA.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Sorry.
Remember
I
the
thought you were
pop up
talking
in
about.
LA
Yeah.
with that Young Bay's little team sponsor.
Yeah, bro, don't you want to open for Young Bay?
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
Yeah, yeah, of course he does. But like the thing that I got sponsored, that George and Bay and
Group
friends were in like the big rooms, but then they had that little the showcase for people like Mir and Fiber and Discoholic and Pad, and there was like a showcase room. It's almost like sort of I hate to use this word, but I'm gonna use it, and it's gonna be taken out of context. But for grooming a new group,
Hey,
No, I love that.
I know. I knew you guys were gonna like
3D
that
Blast
one.
admitted
But
to
that's the
grooming
thing.
on Hot Takes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing, is like that's how you do it, right? Is like you sort of introduce people to some other people that might be up and comers, that might be on the precipice of doing more live events. So like, but what would you be interested in that sort of thing too?
Well, I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, again, I am comfortable behind decks. You guys know that. I mean,
True.
I've played URL shows. All my sets
course.
are live. I'm actually mixing. I actually know how to.
Oh
you know.
no, yeah, Randy's the real deal.
Not to throw anyone else, but like, I actually.
Oh, anyone else? You just talking about how damn good you are.
But like,
I've seen
yeah,
your work. It's
like
very impressive. Come on. I mean,
The
you
tape
make your
swap
own
wasn't-
music, too. That shit's
well,
hard.
yeah, like, the tape swap wasn't like, oh, I finally did it. It was like, yeah.
Well, so
you know.
that's why I was surprised when you said that, like, you don't play a lot of shows or go to a lot of DIY
Yeah.
shows. Like, you're a really good DJ. Like, that surprises me. And I
Well,
remember
well,
tuning into some live stream, I don't know, it was a long time ago, and you were talking about how, when you get paid to do gigs, like, you just never know what they want. You were talking about how you did one gig off of Spotify one time because nobody liked what you had prepared or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, like,
So-
paid gigs that are like party gigs are soul crushing, and like maybe
Yeah,
if
they
you're
are.
the
They
kind of
are.
guy, if you
They
can
are.
do that for money, cool.
Or, like, DJing a bar
Yeah, stuff like that is cool. There's been a lot of moments where I've been misled to be like, is it like that? And they go like, no, we want to hear like dance music and house music. and they don't know what those words meant, and then they get there, and yeah, I definitely played a show for like $400 just off Spotify, and
nice. But also soul crushing, but still
they're
nice.
they're bad. Yeah, again, I haven't played a bunch. I played a few good ones, you know. Just
somebody had a good question about your song, Groovy. He wanted to know if you were not even allowed to use sample packs for the song that you made.
They didn't specify that. It's probably like a hush hush thing. I definitely did. I mean, I didn't just drum loops and hits, and even the loops were very subtle.
Gotcha.
I didn't use like any, you know, sample. Those creation kits
No
are always.
flipping.
I didn't use chords, bass lines, and usually just drum hits and maybe a loop somewhere, like a hi-hat loop, but not even. I don't even know.
Fair.
I definitely used a certain fill that is recognizable in there. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I think about with doing these with live events and stuff like that is like, whoa, what's the is working on your presentation of everything, but also like what's the visual aspect going to be? I think it's the one thing that everybody needs to start thinking about who wants to start doing the live gigs is how are you going to have visuals? Are you going to have lights? How are you going to organize your sets? Things like that. I don't know, like I feel like you could do that. You could do that.
Yeah, but what's funny is that like my favorite part of all this has always been that it's like hyper online, and it's very funny to instantly be like, well, now that you're maybe getting fans, like now it's time to go on the road. It's like
you don't have to go on the road. It's true. You can totally be on the internet. That's honestly makes the most sense for the genre. But at the end of the day, it's a thing that's an option. You know what I mean?
Well, sure. Which is why New York is fun and
right.
Given the opportunities if they work out. But we've talked about this before. Where like a lot of opportunities are just kind of you leave in the red, and you're like, well, I don't really. Well, I could just do something online, I don't really.
Wrong.
I agree,
care.
And I think that what we talked about too one time was I said that it makes more sense with like, I would never do like straightforward tours either. Like I don't know if that makes sense enough. I don't even know. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I guess everything makes sense if you want to think about it. But like for me, I agree. I think we talked about the idea of like, this sort of like gathering convention style sort of ideas for a Vaporwave live thing. Like, no, you don't really need to be touring like traditional bands. And that seems very difficult to do and almost untenable for most of us.
True.
But the idea of like every few months or so, there's some sort of convention, some sort of gathering where people come together and then people, there are live performances at it. There are maybe not even just live performances, but maybe some sort of like art pieces associated with it, or it's like a whole interactive sort of thing, like a convention, like a con, you know what I mean? Exactly. I think that is what we should be aiming for. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I think so, obviously. Like, there's a reason why, like, nobody will see you play in your hometown, but like, you have a crowd in Econ. It's because
real shit.
You have 1,000 fans, and they all want to see you live, but only 2 of them are in my city, and 2 of them are in LA, and 2 of them, but they're all over the place. But you bring enough of them to one location, you got a fucking mob. You treat like a celebrity for a weekend. So like, I'm not itching to go fucking play to an empty bar. Like,
you play enough shows, you scratch.
No, I'm not itching. Yeah, like I don't want to be like, I'm not itching to be like a touring, musician person, and I don't, it's not anything that terribly appeals to me. But like maybe once in a while doing specific things, so that's kind of cool. Yeah. And when doing those things, kind of setting up a whole, whole thing for it would be fun.
Well, obviously, like you can, you can plan them and take your vacation, because again, a lot of us, still work and stuff. Maybe. Yeah. And money's always an issue. Taking work off, taking vacations, and people have family. It's not as easy just to be like, yeah, for sure I'm coming to LA for the week. I don't know.
Right. I mean, I have yet to fly for a gig. I mean, I've driven. The furthest I think I did, I went to Davis. It was like an 8.5 hour drive.
How'd you get to New York? Did you drive to New York?
Okay, well, yeah, technically. That was a gig, I guess. So no.
Okay, I guess it wasn't. Yeah.
No, that's okay. I guess I didn't think of that one. Yeah, and boy, those decks were something else, man. Quiz has a question for you, actually. Wants to know, as someone who doesn't really play IRL actively, do you practice DJing at home?
I probably should more, but I definitely practice if I have gigs. I definitely do rehearse a bit. And the way I function is very much like casual, competitive, friendly competition almost. So like if someone else I know I'm hanging out with is like, ooh, I've been working on music, or ooh, I've been DJing, or like, ooh, I just went to this show, or like I'll go see a show because I have gone to see shows, and I'll just be like, fuck, I should probably do something. And so I'll usually like, yeah.
So when you go to a show and you see like a really good DJ, you're just like, fuck, I gotta be better.
Yeah. It'll influence my production
That's
too.
good.
So I'll be like,
That is
I should
good.
Being inspired.
I mean, again, I guess I should practice more, but at the same time, I weirdly feel like the more I get like into one, like let's say my prime go, the less I would feel comfortable on like Pioneer decks.
Yeah.
So I like to keep my stuff simple because I'm not necessarily playing with like my own setup. So I purposely kind of like to make mixes and stuff that flows and moves very simply without a lot of effects, without a lot of tricks. Mainly
I don't use
and
effects.
loops, I think.
I don't use effects unless I've got to like.
I just said mainly just cues and loops.
Just cues and loops, gotcha.
Yeah, I don't use effects unless I'm like going to radically change into a whole other mood and I need to just go whoosh.
Yeah, the old smoke and mirrors trick.
Yeah. Hey, I don't really practice either, and because
man, I
don't play enough to practice.
Ask Lux, I'm constantly practicing.
Time and energy.
Probably gets old.
Like I get it.
Well,
no, that's good. That's why you're really good, Isaac.
Oh, you're too kind, man.
Why you're
I mean,
really
that's how I
good.
get good, is just doing stuff a lot.
I used to play a bit more regularly with a friend of mine who just plays with me for fun. He's just like he's my back-to-back
like
partner.
back-to-backs, nice.
Yeah, and we'll usually we used to like stream every other month. We'll like just do like hour-long sets and switch off. And his name is Anthony. Shouts out whatever his alias is at the moment. And Mask, or I don't know. He doesn't play it live. Sorry.
All good.
He's got a family. Over COVID, he started a family, and obviously COVID. So it's been a while since we've like been able to like mix. Plus, he's a bit farther away from me now, so it's like, that was when we would plan on being like, oh, come over, we'll set everything up, blah blah blah, and that was fun. But it's a little different, a little harder now. I don't have many like DJ friends in quote real life.
Do you live in a house or an apartment?
I live in a house. Thank
well,
God.
That's the one thing, man. Ever since I moved into a house, it's like, fucking finally, I can actually have some low end, while I'm practicing.
Oh,
yes. I can practice past
it's nice, right?
9 p.m.,
I live in a townhouse. Yeah, I live in a townhouse, and it's like the townhouse next to me. Nobody lives in it. They've been like trying to refurbish that place forever, so I can do it around.
Don't lie, you rented that townhouse as well.
Yeah. Oh, so there's a question from MP3 Neptune, and I'm going to get to that in a second.
Yeah,
I actually
thank
want to
you.
go back to that question. But I do just want to say, last thing I'll say about the live show is I just want to, one day, I want to see like a 3D blast show with like a big screen behind them with like bouncing 3D letters and the blues and
you
reds
just want to see
yellow.
me play Terminally Chill. I get it.
Of course I want that, but I actually want
Hey,
like
you know how to
like,
rock a crowd, man. Come on.
One of those big visual setups behind you where you have like custom visuals and like you see like the blues and the reds all playing around together, and then like soft on the screen side to side, and then like it just goes into all the other. There's so much lore associated with 3D Blast and all your streams.
Excitement.
It would just be really fun for like a real like honest to goodness like 3D Blast audio visual experience. You know what I mean? Like because there's so much to work with.
Yeah,
it would be so fun.
But couldn't you say this? You'd say this about any artist, right? You could be like,
I would.
love
exactly.
For this. I will say, and I know
you're one of our artists. You're from our world, and
Right.
that's why I would say that. Like,
And you do make party music, man.
Well,
that's
you
the
make
thing.
party
I was
music
gonna
too.
say,
It would
this
be
does
fun.
play into Neptune's question. I'm pretty sure you're about to bring up about like the styles
How things are
changing.
changing.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
Is that playing?
You got an OG fan.
Playing my newer stuff in New York for the first time. I was like, damn, this stuff
kind
of fucking hits. Like,
dude,
it does,
maybe
man. Your
seen
shit is
me or
always
Fanta
hit.
Cat play some of your stuff at some of like the, some occasionally at Terminally Chill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
one of my favorite
awesome.
things to do is use My Fault at the end of a set. Like when you
were
feel the
saying,
energy level winding down, bam, My Fault.
Well, that's the thing. Is like, even Here to Stay is less like banger. I mean, it's fun. I play some of that stuff. Like, it's cool. Some of it's like slower. A lot of it's like 90 to 100. But like specifically like Drenched and like the new Dan Mason remix In the Sea, where I'm like leaning more towards that like Genesis-y, attitude-y, like almost New Jacky swingy, not quite.
You do a lot
like,
with your drums.
Yeah, that
your percussion, I guess I should say.
Yeah, I always say it's got a hell of a rhythm section.
Yeah. You really know how to make it hit with the percussion, especially.
That stuff, I didn't expect. I mean, I guess I've just never heard it in a crowd, and it was really, really, really cool.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's fun.
So,
it's fun.
In addressing MP3 Neptune's question, do you feel like your newer work hits harder than your older work?
I mean, I've gotten a lot better. The old stuff is so, again, it's plunderphonic-y, a lot more so. Even, what's funny is that even in my very, very, very first stuff, you can hear that it's like Genesis kind of drums and like kind of adding my own stuff over top of it, which comes in way later. But like, honestly, when I made my first stuff, I honestly thought Vaporwave was supposed to be like lazy and like almost simple.
Can be. That's fine too.
Right?
Well, yeah,
it can
but
definitely
like,
be kind
and
of
that's fine.
down.
And that doesn't just, I don't really ever even qualify Vaporwave. I know what you're saying, like the idea of thinking, well, it's lazy. That also is kind of cool too. That's cool too. You know what I mean? So of course.
Well, yeah, but sure. No, I'm just kidding. But my newer stuff, I think, definitely like I've learned. I'm still learning. I don't think I'm done. Obviously, I don't think anyone should think that. But it's definitely gotten a lot better. I definitely feel a lot more comfortable making a song that sounds good, loud. I think. I hope.
Music production in general, it's a constant journey, and it's just trying, you should always be just trying to figure out who you are through it. And it always starts some way and kind of changes as we change and begin to understand ourselves better,
Yeah. It's definitely moved. You can definitely hear it. And you can hear what gets brought in from the last album into the new one.
Right.
And so, like, you can see where that goes, I think.
I think there's always been a bit of an irreverence with your music, and it's funny that you have such the Sonic the Hedgehog thing, because he's always just kind of like, he was the cool, bad, he wasn't bad, but he's like, oh, Mario's so straight and like family friendly.
It's an attitude.
Sonic the Hedgehog has the attitude,
That's always it. My music has an attitude, but almost in this, it's weirdly sarcastic.
Yes.
Where it's just like,
it pokes fun.
It's not comedy, obviously. I don't make music ironically, but it's like
true.
There's an irreverence in it. It's not it's not comedy. There's an irreverence that happens in it because there's an irreverence in you, and so that is seen in the music as well. But there's also sincerity too. That's the other thing too. Is like you have the irreverence, but it's with the sincerity, and so it's like it's a picture of who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, I mean, again, a big influence, no surprise, is like Hideki Naganuma, right? Jet Set Radio. Yeah. Where you're listening to music where it's going, blah, 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 it's you, Ebo, Ebo. And it's like, what is this shit? But it's great. I don't know if that got picked up over Discord.
Melt Banana on Jet Set Radio.
No, I get what you're saying.
Like, Jet Set Radio music is like, I like it. I like it. I don't like it. Not all. Like stuff like all those vocal samples are very funny.
True.
Yeah.
We got a backlog of questions I got to drop.
Go for it.
Somebody asked, what are your schedule habits / time management habits for creating / working on projects? I think that was Strip Silence that asked that.
I'm terrible at it. I have a bad habit of like, I need to fucking just do it, or else it's so hard to get back into it. I have like 8 work in progresses right now that I will go back, open the project, listen to it, and be like, all right, cool, and then be like, yeah, I'll get to it, and then like just kind of don't. But like really solid ideas that I really want to expand.
Yeah.
Scheduling stuff is really hard. This is why like I need that like safe competition. I need to hear Dan Mason tell me he's working on a new album for me to come in and be like, you're right. I gotta get to work, you know?
Or
like,
Nano needs some help with a new level.
I wish I had any dev skill to help, but I don't.
But
honestly, even just not necessarily even just music, but like seeing him work, seeing everybody work, seeing everybody be like, oh, new music,
right?
I have to do this and that. That helps.
Somebody has like a sick drop, and you're just like, all right, got to get back on my.
No, I feel the same way. Yeah.
Sometimes definitely I'll hear like a sample and be like, I could definitely lose myself. People who watched my stream knew the other day when like. So we just heard a really cool song, and I just put I was like ending my stream, and I was like, I'll work on this for 20 minutes, and I ended up streaming an extra 2 hours just because I was like,
you talking about free samples,
moving it, yeah.
Is that part of why you do free samples, just to kind of keep the creative juices flowing?
For sure, 100%.
Because there's been some beautiful things that have come out of that.
A lot. I've taken a few songs and made them full songs. Like, my fault is 100%. It is a song Dan Mason made and a song I made for free samples.
Oh, that's very cool.
And made them into one.
There's a Sev track, I
he plays that one a lot.
I played it at the tape swap because it hits really fucking hard.
Free samples is nuts.
There's
a song, the latest episode. So we've been on a hiatus for that show, and for those that don't know, we usually just take a mystery sample. It can be literally anything, a song normally. And we have just 3 hours to flip into it, and any way you want. It's a vaporwave scene, so we get a lot of that. And so the newest episode, I've been going back into that project and like, I don't know, if people that know it, and it ended very George Clanton-y, like very like, I don't know,
a very like break beat.
Yeah. And I was like, I should, I was kind of singing over it live, but I was like, I don't have enough time to like record or write. So I've been going back, so, I think I'm going to try to finish that.
I think Lux was watching that stream. I feel like I remember, the singing.
Yeah. It's good. I mean, it's fun. I like, did subtle vocals to, like, harmonize with one of the samples we were using, and that was, I think it sounded good. So, I want to do more.
Hell yeah, dog. All right, we got another one. You just got booked for the Gathering of the Juggalos. How are you preparing? What are you playing? Thanks, Quiz.
Okay, let's see. Oh, I mean, I would finish my remix of Cotton Eye Joe. That would go over well.
Please say it ain't so.
I wanted to. I had one. I was like, I think I want to finish this for New York.
Oh my god!
But I never did, and I thought it'd be really funny.
It would be funny.
I got cold feet because I wasn't sure what setup we were gonna have, and I didn't want to make something.
Of course, Lux wants to hear it.
I thought oh yeah. But I thought I showed it to her. I wasn't sure what our setup was gonna be, so I didn't want to do a part. I really wanted to get people to sing it. I really wanted to get on mic and be like, sing like but I wasn't sure what our setup was gonna be, and I could have done it, but I just got cold feet. Like, I don't want to make this and be in the same spot we were the first year, which was kind of dinky, and be really stupid. But
damn,
it was good this year. Maybe I'll finish it.
Nice. All right. So, Randy, when did you start getting into making music?
When did I?
Yeah.
2006.
Oh.
A neighbor who was always into music too comes over. He's a few years older than me, maybe 2-3 years, and he was always like, our families are friends with their family. He came over and installed the FL Studio demo, and
damn.
Funny enough, it might even start earlier than that, because I remember we had like a music class in like 5th grade, and being like, here's what you have to play, and just like before we would start or after, we'd kind of have a little free things where we could warm up or just dink around with little xylophones. And I just remember being like, I want to play something. Like, I don't want to. I'm making up a thing on there, and just I don't know, just that carrying over into like making music 2006 and literally never leaving FL.
So even just like in the 5th grade music class, being like, putting sounds together is fun. This is
Right. I
interesting.
want to freestyle and make my own.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
some people pick up a paintbrush and are like, I really enjoy paint. You know, the way the sensation of moving these colors around with a tool. You know what I mean?
Funny
Something
enough,
very
I used
similar
to
with
draw
moving into
too.
music.
I wasn't
really?
good at
Really?
it, but I used to like. I'll always sketch. Like again, it's not. None of it was ever really good.
A lot of it was like,
you're holding out on us. You're
I mean, they
saving
were
it for
fifth
the
grade-
3D Blast
fifth grade
Patreon,
drawings.
aren't you?
Were
I
they
don't
like a
dra-
lot of? Were they like a lot of stuff like Sonic holding Tails and Tails is pregnant?
Kissing, yeah.
Oh,
a lot of,
the curse
a lot of
Sonic
diaper stuff for
Love
sure.
it.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
In
you
sixth
know
grade,
who
my
else-
neighbor brought over this diaper, and I put it on. Never mind.
You know, Male Tears is a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan as well. You familiar
don't-
with Male Tears?
Yeah.
I've heard the name, and I've
Yeah.
heard this specifically mentioned. But I don't think we really have communicated.
Oh, you guys are kind of indifferent. You make completely different music. Anyways, I love sending cursed Sonic imagery to James as often as I can.
So
Anyways,
okay.
sorry.
What? Okay. So, all right. So now we know. So you know you kind of really enjoy using the FL Studio demo. You decide you want to keep pursuing it. How do you figure out what your sound is? I'm gonna take a wild guess and maybe say that you maybe started off maybe hip hop beats first, something like that, possibly.
So I'm trying to think. I grew up on Newgrounds, so a lot of early
yeah.
electronic
Oh,
music
okay.
influences.
So you're
And
familiar with that one
comedic
influences.
click song.
Yeah, you know how I'm cursed and like, everything I say shouldn't be said out loud? It's all Newgrounds' fault.
Yep.
That makes so much sense.
And the audio portal is like the first
Uh-huh.
place I was. Like, I remember, like, yeah, I was an audio portal guy, like day one. Not that I have any
I
notoriety
don't think I
on
ever
there,
went
but,
to the audio portal. What is there?
I mean, huge, like, so many good artists, like, that actually became people, like, some of my most coveted, loved, like, follows on Twitter, because I put a lot of meaning behind who follows me on Twitter. There are
Hell
two
yeah.
artists. One is Waterflame, who you might know from the Castle Crashers soundtrack. Did a lot of the music
Oh,
from
yeah.
that.
Okay.
And the other one is Paragon X9, who was also on the Castle Crashers soundtrack, but just, these are Newgrounds audio portal legends, and just used to make just badass music, and they both follow me, and I was like, that's so cool.
That is really cool.
I don't really know how they did, but it's just really fucking cool. I love both music is amazing.
What kind of music do they make? Is it like Monster Cat chiptune type stuff? Or?
So yeah, this kind of throws back to what I like started making, like very video game inspired music. I wanted to make music for video games kind of, but then I mean I guess I still do, I guess, but I always loved the way Waterflame did like almost like orchestral mixed with like chiptuney stuff mixed with like electronic, like it was
Listens
very
to
like
Lindsey
this,
Sterling once.
this trio of stuff mixed together.
Interesting.
And it was really good. And that's what, if you go to my Bandcamp, the very first album is called The Meaning Of. That is the last thing I put out under my old alias before I switched to 3D Blast back in 2013, 14 or whatever. And that was the kind of music I was making, which was like chiptuney, electronic-y. Yeah.
That's very cool. Honestly, I love how many people in the scene are influenced by video game OSTs. Super underrated
lot.
art form.
So many.
Do you have any favorites?
Video game OSTs?
Yes.
Loads. I mean, come on.
You want to give me a
you
top
can-
3 real quick?
Top 3 video game OSTs? I mean, you start with Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
All right.
Obviously, like, every level is perfectly matched. Every song is amazing. And then, like, you bring in, like, Sonic Mania. A lot of them are, like, gotta be Sonic. Sonic Mania is another
fair.
perfect one, because you got the guy who did the music for that, just remastered all the old Sonic music, but then did his own stuff, and it's just perfectly CD era, like, throwbacky M1 kind of vibe. And then, of
Oh,
course...
M1. Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
there is a lot of M1 synthesizer sounds.
It's
Oh,
those cheesy horns and like just badass. And of course you got fucking Jet Set Radio's perfect,
Of
and
course.
Future's perfect.
Somebody just said Mega Man 2 in chat. Absolutely agree.
I was never really a Mega Man guy. Not
Me
until
neither,
the
but
GB
Mega
not
Man 2
until
is
the-
just... Mwah.
I mean, I listen to a lot of stuff like every game. I listens to like soundtracks, like, you know.
Hell yeah. I listen to a few
Specific-
of them unironically, mostly JRPG stuff.
Yeah, I was really into the Phantasy Star Online soundtrack as well.
I really wanted to get into that series. I guess I better give it another
good.
whirl.
So
Yeah.
was music production and synthesizer music and sampling, was this your first instrument, or were you playing other instruments prior?
So, I mean, I was in band in school, like 4th through end of high school. I played the saxophone. So
That's cool. That's cool as fuck.
Mhm.
Someone actually asked in chat if you played currently or have played any instruments.
yeah, I'm probably super rusty, but I do know how to play a saxophone.
So let me ask you, what kind of music? So
That's
what kind
cool.
of music were you listening to before you even started making music? Was it a lot of video game soundtracks, or were there some other things? Is there some particular artist that really you wouldn't be able to tell listening to your music, but that like kind of like set you off and like, I'd like to make music one day?
So early on, like the first album I owned, I think was Toxicity by System of a Down.
Interesting.
But like, I mean, it's a great album, but I don't necessarily know if it influenced my production. Obviously I was into Toonami, right? And my older brother had a big fucking influence on my music taste. And we just had like a home computer. Again, audio portal stuff, early electronic. We got all the Daft Punk albums for Christmas one year.
Oh,
Hell
wow.
We had this thing called Fantasy Dance Hits Volume, whatever we had.
Oh, wow.
And it was all
Hold
like,
on that.
I loved happy hardcore music and fucking like these endless, like, I guess simply the most obvious one would be like Cascadas type stuff. We went
Right,
over this
yeah.
on stream with it. Yeah. Just like anthem banger type stuff. Fucking that stuff rocks. And that was probably the first electronic music I really got into.
Were you a fan of like the Monster Cat type stuff?
Not really. I'm
Not
not
really
not
so
a
much?
fan.
I got you.
I know what it sounds like. It sounds very cheesy now, I feel like. A little too
Yeah,
commercially.
it definitely has gotten. They've kind of been, falling off.
Which isn't bad. I'm not saying none of it's bad. I'm not.
Yeah, true.
But I also got into like we grew up with like, Gorillaz, MF Doom,
Word.
Oh, that'll do it. Yeah.
Dre, like a lot of like we had a lot of Eminem, but mainly like the Dre produced stuff. And that stuff was always dope.
Did you ever have like a nightcore like Vocaloid phase?
No, definitely
No.
not.
Did you ever have a
Definitely
dubstep phase?
My dubstep phase is probably like it's about as fresh as it was back then as it is now, where it's just kind of like
Word.
I like a few select songs and a few select artists, and I follow them. Like I liked Recess by Skrillex like a lot, and I listen to Skrillex and his singles every now and then, and when they're cool. But I don't
Hell yeah.
I'm not like a bass head, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for real.
I'm always sometimes I find myself checking out dubstep pretty frequently, actually. Not necessarily because it's my music of choice, but because I am interested in learning production techniques, and I'm always looking at artists and music I don't necessarily gravitate to sort of get an idea of like how they do that and think about that.
Yeah, it's not a bad
not
idea.
as easy as it looks. Also,
No.
it's but I'm not listening to it every day of my life.
Right.
But it's kind of an interesting thing to check out music that you don't necessarily isn't what you make, or isn't even close to it. But you never know. Like you'll listen to that, and be like, maybe I'll incorporate a little bit of this one production technique
for
that I
sure.
heard them play, or
Yeah.
this one drum I heard them do. It's interesting, man. What do you listen to a lot most
Most of the
for
time right
inspiration?
now? Oh, for inspiration?
in general? Whatever.
I mean, for
What, now,
inspiration,
anytime.
I'll do both. For inspiration, I literally probably just listen to the song Toxic Caves from Sonic Spinball and just be like, yeah, this is what all music should sound like.
Nice.
I don't know if you know, if
Interesting.
people know what it is. It's
Got to
just
check it
this
out.
gnarly, fucking groovy, fucking disgusting song.
Wow.
Yes, Lex, I like that telepath one.
It honestly bangs.
But then, like, I mean, again, I'm such a huge St. Pepsi stan. Like, I die for Hit Vibes is just perfect. And so, like, I'll just listen to that or his Alive 2020 and what he does to that. I'm just
I
like,
mean, it was like the first album that brought Vaporwave to the party. You know what I mean? To the club.
Do you know that Hit Vibes was originally almost released on Airlines?
no. Maybe I did. I don't know.
No. This is probably not really well known. That was almost released on Airlines, that album, actually. In fact, way back in the day, and I still have all these messages in my little Facebook Messenger to prove it. Like, Ryan actually messaged me back in like 2013 or 14 or whatever. It was like, hey, you know, Airlines is my dream label. I'd really love to release on them. Do you think you could talk to them for me? Because that's what I was on at the time. And I said, absolutely. And I messaged Penny from Surfing. It was like, you know, there's St. Pepsi is really, this guy St. Pepsi is really picking up speed. He just did a Kickstarter and it did really well. And I think you guys should check this out and should consider releasing this album. And like Penny was like, well, you know, we're really not interested in that sound right now. And I said, all right, you sure about that?
The fucking
I was like, I can't believe, and I told them,
Oh,
and I will like
Vaporwave.
find, I'll bring up these messages at some point, and I'll be like, you know, this guy is like, I mean, this is really good stuff. He's like, it's very very popular. You might want to consider releasing him. And they said no. Oh boy.
Yeah,
I think they also
woulda, coulda, shoulda.
yeah, Lux is correct, and he didn't even know he was that at the time either. Like they didn't even know they were, but now they do. Now they get it. I love those guys, and I miss them.
Quick outstanding question from chat. The same person who asked what instruments you played also wanted to know how did you develop the skill of writing your own melodies over samples?
Without sounding too annoying, I've always been annoyingly like, I want to hum this over that, and like I always have shit stuck in my head, and I'm always like, it's always music all the time. And again, I think band class and stuff like that helps a lot.
Word.
Where you have just you know, I'm not really sure. It's one of those things where it's just it just comes up from, I don't know. You just don't really
did it one
notice
day, huh?
Yeah, you're just kind of doing it from the beginning. I mean, I wasn't always sampling, but yeah.
Another person asked if you and your family were all into the same music growing up.
Kind of. We definitely splintered off as we got older. But I think I'd say so. We all have a lot in common. Like that, you know, Daft Punk never left us. A lot of we loved, like, you know, all the early Kanye never left any of us. System of a Down never left any of us. We all weirdly got into pop punk scene music late, at least for me, and so we're all still very much into like the early Fall Out Boy, the early Peg the Disco, the early
Oh, that's funny. I didn't
pick
know
that shit up and like
that's
put
like
it on
that's like a
and
little
be,
like
bang
go-to
into it
album
right
for you
now.
then, huh? How fun!
Yeah.
What an interesting thing. That's an interesting thing. Well, it probably maybe it informs a little bit about like your appreciation of melody. You know what I mean? And humming along things.
Or just music that hits.
I was talking to Neptune we were talking about it on Discord one night, and it's just so obviously I make electronic music and everything, and most of the stuff I listen to is electronic, and I DJ and blah, 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 house music, blah, blah, blah. My actual favorite album of all time, I think is the most perfect album ever made, is Panic at the Disco's Pretty Odd.
No way. This is the kind of content that I crave.
That's so fun.
The other hot take is that Fall Out Boy is good and has only gotten better.
It's only gotten better.
You heard it on Hot Takes.
I never really listened to either of them that much.
I'm admittedly
Any of that music.
a
I
bit
mean,
older.
you probably didn't either.
Not into it.
I never listened to any of that music.
But
I was like got
it's
old.
Just not for me.
No, I'm not trash talking.
No, I'm not saying you are.
When I got,
just,
No. When I got older, like I kind of like, so I listened to a lot of, and so did Isaac probably, a lot of that, the more of the indie tinged emo before it like blew the pre 2001 stuff. And I never really listened to a lot of the pop punk emo stuff. And as I got older, and I'm like, you know what? Let me check this out. And it's hummable. It's fun. It's a different vibe completely than what I was used to, but it's fun stuff.
It's
you know what I mean? It's anthemic. It's fun stuff. It's spoke to a lot of people, and has influenced a lot of people, and I can appreciate that. And obviously, look at you. You're right. Very interesting, extraordinary music, and you're a little bit informed by some of the pop punk hooks, maybe. Almost unconsciously. Maybe.
If you listen to Pretty Odd, it's not really even pop punky, which is funny. That's why it's heavily like Beatles inspired, which I'm a big Beatles fan.
Okay.
And it is full of
I love the Beatles.
Horns and strings and these word loops that like wrap around each other and just like throwback nostalgic tracks, and like it's such a warm album.
What is this album again? What's it called again?
Pretty Odd.
I'm listening this tomorrow.
It is Panic at the Disco's sophomore album after their huge hit, obviously, with I Write Sins Not Tragedies.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just not what... I don't think it's what anyone thought. I think they got a lot of shit for it when it came out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it definitely
obviously
was controversial.
Nowadays, obviously, it's just Brendan Urie
and
his pop, whatever they're making him sing over. I won't vouch for Modern Panic, but that second album...
Fucking quiz.
So good.
Are you a fan of ska
Well,
music,
very interesting.
So ska music, I like ska music a lot. I couldn't tell you too many bands besides like Goldfinger, and the only ska band that I can say I'm a fan of is like Aquabats.
Okay.
Even they don't really
That's really funny. Aquabats.
Ska.
It was a very silly ska band. I mean,
silly music.
There's a lot very silly. That's silly even for a ska band. It's pretty
True.
silly.
Exceptional.
May I recommend Less Than Jake?
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with a lot of like the big ones, but different. Oh, I have two older brothers. The other older brother is really into Aquabats, and he's the one who kind of got me way more into them. He's like a diehard stan. We've got the full costume and everything.
No way.
What?
Wow.
But yeah. I sampled Aquabats on Here to Stay.
No way.
Oh yeah,
At
that's
the
right.
end of Earthworlder, it's like, fly away with me. We don't have wings, but
Okay.
together we can fly.
If I knew what I was
You certainly
looking
do
for.
like to use a lot of interesting samples. Music that people maybe necessarily think could possibly be turned into a vaporwave song. I feel like you pride yourself on that.
Yeah, it's very fun because I think people don't realize that, like, and in the same way that chef from Ratatouille's like, anyone can cook. It's like anything can be slowed down.
Bro,
That's
if you
what's
hang
beautiful
out with
about
Christ,
vaporwave.
I mean, there's nothing that's off limits.
Oh yeah,
Well,
for
that's
real.
that's the important thing about the movement in general, is that it's like, well, anybody can start getting involved and do it this way if they would like to. It's all fully, the door is open, you know what I mean? And there's no one saying you can't do it that way. And you should, I think that needs to always be part of this forever. I mean, not that it is, I mean, you could argue that that's what it is in general, and that should never be discouraged, you know what I mean?
There are some moments in songs that are just vapor wavy that you don't even realize.
Correct.
Like,
Yeah.
True.
I'm not saying you have to take a whole fucking song and slow it down, but like the hook of a Boston song, like I can hear like, oh shit, hold on, let me slow that down. That's
Right.
cool. Not necessarily.
Dude,
I haven't really done that, but like some examples were like, I've used like Ariana Grande, I've used Sugar Ray, I've just used my friend's old like punk band.
Nice.
Big Britney Spears is one that I've been working on recently. Stuff
wow.
like there's a lot of contemporary stuff that's good.
It's true. I mean, maybe my favorite maybe my favorite artist actually is Twin Pines Mall, and that person
Really?
is like, yeah, I love Twin Pines Mall. It's maybe my favorite because I think that guy has done exactly what Randy's talking about constantly. Is like, this could be vaporwave. This can be vaporwave. This can be
Right.
vaporwave, and
Well,
it's got like dozens and dozens of albums now, and
And
it's
if you put,
always
like,
something different.
If you put some fun little synths and
Vaporwave
stuff
the
over
planet.
it, My most popular song, before the League of Legends stuff happened, my most popular
I love
song.
Twin Pines Mall. As long as Twin Pines Mall is making albums, Vaporwave is alive. That's all I have to say.
True. What were you saying, Randy?
Before the League of Legends stuff, my most popular song, and I guess still kind of is Beyond Nostalgia, which is the opening track to Iconic Bitch.
Yeah.
It's
a great song.
it's a Smash Mouth sample.
Yeah, it is. I think that's the one that
Yes.
Fantacat plays all the time.
Maybe.
Oh, it's so fun. It's a really
I
fun
could be
song.
confusing
Maybe,
for a different
one
one,
of
but
the
I think it
popular
is.
songs, honestly.
And it's just like, I hit the riff he used. I mean, maybe I've talked about it before, but like literally, I was at work with my friend. We worked together. We had a speaker on, and the sample came on. It's was it Pacific Coast Party by whatever I just said, Smash Mouth, and there's like a string section in it, and he doesn't really know anything about future funk, but he like picks up what I talk about and like kind of teases me about it. And so he was like, "Oh, is this disco? Like, can you sample this?" And I said, "You know what? I'm gonna sample it, and I'm gonna put it on my album as like
Fuck
a
yeah.
dare almost." And that was, and I just followed through.
Good.
And then you like toted it into work and showed it to him?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, definitely.
That's what I'm talking about.
And,
Randy,
put the right riffs
Fighting
over it.
Island wants to know, ways back, they wanted to know what makes you laugh.
I don't know if you'd ask me this.
Specifically, what makes you LOL?
So much. I love comedy.
A fitting question.
I love, like, the stuff that makes me laugh the most is we always say that, like, quiz humor that punches.
Yeah, give us the
down.
best example in chat,
You want
quiz.
to punch us down?
It's like I always say it's like riff humor, right? But it's like okay, I did talk about this the other day with somebody, but it was like I am addicted to like moments of like I don't know how to phrase this. It's like living in a moment in which whatever was just said was like taken as true, not as truth, but like, fuck, I don't know.
Like deadpan humor?
It's more of just
Where
like
people have
living
to,
in
like,
these
ask-
small moments that are so fucking stupid that like even the thought of thinking it's funny is funny. And it's like not totally absurdist, but it's like, this is why sometimes we'll like get in trouble or something by saying something that is to me is so fucking, so not true, so not something anybody should ever really say or not that I'm like
So,
shocking.
like, saying something
Not
that you
even
would
shocking, but
never,
something absurd.
ever, like, unironically
Absurd.
mean.
but it's
And that's why it's funny.
yeah, like, to me, like just the way it's worded would be like a way that makes it seem absurd. And
Yeah, but then to treat, so it's like when something is absurd and then like an absurd thing is said and it's treated as if it's like a serious thing for a minute or two. Where it's like,
for like, yeah,
now
even
we
for
got
like
to
a
the world where this
second.
silliness has happened. Yeah.
like, I don't even know. I can't
I mean,
really
that's
explain
kind of
it.
I mean, humor is a lot like, that's like that's a big thing with humor is the idea of like creating
Misdirection.
a supposition. Yeah, misdirection. That's kind of what it is, like misdirection of reality into like this really stupid thing that is like clearly not reality. Like, I don't know, man. You have a Panera hat on right now because like
I'm
there's a
glad you
point where
finally
on the
noticed
screen-
it.
I
I
didn't
know, I
want to
was
say
waiting for-
anything, but people in chat have brought it
Well,
up a couple times.
I remember the Twitch stream where like all of a sudden people were just like, yeah, buy the Panera hat, Randy. It's a great investment. And
I
then
have
Chris
a-
is like, you'd be crazy not to buy the Panera hat. And there is an idea of something that's an absurd concept that's now being treated as like, you're right. It would be crazy for me not to have a Panera hat. What have I been doing? Why haven't I had it before?
Let's crowdfund
And
it.
that kind of like a very silly, absurd reality that's treated as truth. And it's like, and now here you are, and now you've got the Panera hat. This
Funny
is like
enough.
some fucking stupid shit from like 2 years ago or something.
My
Like,
Google
and that reality is
reminder-
still persisting. It's so fucking silly.
My calendar on my phone had today as the show tonight. It was like, it said like hot takes, and it just said Panera hat because John was like, you have to wear it on the show, and I was like, yeah, I have to remind myself or I'll forget. And so today,
and then you'd be like, how embarrassing would it have been if you didn't have the Panera hat? Like, and now that's another thing that's really silly and ridiculous. Go ahead, continue.
Well, let's talk about Panera hats. We were watching that furry documentary on stream.
I remember I watched,
and we got into like this weird
like
this furry guy who like worked at Panera and wore like a Panera uniform, and then he would like walk around and be like, "This is my coworker," and I was like, "Oh, this sucks." And then we started like just looking at Panera merch because he had like, a little Panera hat. I'm like, how did he get that? And so we were like, we gotta fucking get one.
Rabbit hole of absurd, you know what I mean? When it's like when you start putting a lot of energy into something that's so dumb, like that becomes very funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and without sounding, I was gonna say without sounding like too pretentious, but like I do love like micro-analyzing the perfect phrase that is so fucking stupid that it's like there's a lot of moments when I'll be hanging out with someone and I'll just like, we love word associating. Word association is huge. Like just if someone says something, someone says it a little different, and then we just keep going off that. And we just go, again, it's hard to explain unless you see it, but like you just live in those little moment to moments where like, what if you said that instead? What if I said that instead off that and that and that and that and that? And then it just gets to these moments where it goes, this phrase is so stupid. Should I tweet this? And everyone has to decide, like, does this make sense even out of context now? And it's like these little, like the other day when it was like, would you date a horse girl or a girl horse?
Oh, I saw that
like,
tweet.
It just came from like a long line of riffings where we were just like, you know, I want to go to this country music thing. Oh, what if, there's too many horse girls there, and yeah, you could date. I don't know. We're just like, just this fucking huge, I don't even know, lucid moments of, I don't know.
Bro, you seem like you lost it on stream when Disco started hitting those stupid sound effects during the Keith set.
That was really funny.
No, I was hitting those.
You were hitting those? For some reason, I thought it was Disco.
No, he's not as funny as I am.
Holy shit.
I thought that was, I mean, I think that's everyone's agreed that's the funniest thing ever. When you replace all of Keith's like pensive, highly organized, like synthesizer textures with like
fucking stupid like
so
cartoon
he
sound effects.
He did his own edit that he did where it's like, you know, pussy, pussy, and he's doing that. And so he's got that.
I do remember
we were
that
watching
one.
the live stream, and I was just playing like cartoon. Yeah, there it is in chat.
God, that shit.
I like it better when it's I like it. Yeah, I like it better when it's
Shout out Lux for showing that to me. I was not able to tune in live.
It's really funny. That was great.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
Are you a fan of stuff that's like so bad it's good?
Not necessarily. I don't really like cringe.
Really?
Not necessarily. It depends. Sometimes it can be. It depends what it is. Like one of my favorite videos of all times. I've never seen The Room actually.
Oh damn! What's your favorite video? What's the video you were going to talk about though?
There's it's during the Gangnam Style craze. There's one called Spartan High School Style.
Oh, I'm familiar with that. Yep.
And every now and then,
someone link it in chat.
Every now and then, I will just tweet the link that any version I can find, Spartan High School Style, and I'll just say new song. And I've been doing that bit since 20. I have been doing that. You could go back to my like artist Facebook page and through my Twitter, and like maybe once a year it'll come up in conversation, and I'll just go find it and I'll just tweet new song. And
when are you gonna sample it, bro?
It is
so, but that's a cringe. That's like
I feel like it's too on the nose. I think that thing is good just existing as this one small like strange world. Like what's really funny about those things too is like the combination of the low production value with the amateur editing and the sincerity. That's the thing that makes it really funny is that people doing it. It's not like they're trying to be cringy. They are just trying to do something sincere, actually. And then the errors in
that's the best part.
Are what makes it so funny. I think
there are moments though that you're like, how do you not see that?
I know.
How did you miss that? Anybody watch
the idea that they work?
I gotta watch this video.
Oh my God.
So there was like yeah, it's like like someone had to take that footage and organize it and edit it and put hours into creating it.
And you can guess too when you watch the video, the girl in it, you can tell it was all probably her.
Damn.
You know what I mean? And I think the funny thing comes from the idea that like this is like you had so much time to like not to like look at this and be like, you know what?
To not
Never
suck.
mind. But no. You were done. You put it out there, and here it is for the world to see.
Oh man.
And it's the sincerity behind these things kind of is what makes them really funny too. You know what I mean? I can't stand it when someone's just trying to like do a version of that and is like very self-aware that they're doing a version of that and they're like gonna make it funny and like no, it's so much more funny when it's the person doesn't realize the silliness that they're
absolutely
putting so much energy into.
Because it's genuine.
It's
It's like it's not manufactured comedy. It's just like something absurd happening organically.
And it's
and
it's
like then you also see the people in these videos, and you're like, that person probably means something to somebody, but this is a weird inside joke.
Yep.
And I have no clue who that lunch lady.
Yep. Lunch lady. It literally like it's just and they try to be like you can hear the story in their heads when you watch the video and you go, I bet they were like, and we'll get all the teachers to do it, and they're gonna fucking love it, and everyone's gonna think we're so fucking cool. And they interview the football players, and they're just like.
Yeah.
Our nice school style. Like, they don't give a...
Yeah,
nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
It's so good. Oh, man. But then they are really, like...
see this shit.
Really into it. It's, again, it's some high school's parody of Gangnam Style, and it's...
I mean, the idea of, like, local television access TV is always, like, kind of a funny thing because of that,
Mm-hmm.
Well, every once in a while I see something online, and I'm just like, man, is this, like, the best left field comedy like ever, or is it someone that's just absolutely deranged? Like, there's this one guy, he keeps saying, like, he paints it all over his van, and he's just like, the spirit of God entered me, same size. And he just always, have you seen that guy? He has like, he looks like something from Tim and Eric. He's got these giant long bangs that he like combs down perfectly. It's so strange.
Well, like, think of like
outsider
Dax,
humor.
Like Dax Flame. It's very hard to tell if he's a genius or if he's genuinely that weird. I don't know if you're familiar.
I'm not, but I guess I gotta check
old
him out.
YouTube Dax Flame. He's like OG YouTube. Like 2006 or 4.
You should link it in the chat so all of these viewers can check it out.
One of my favorite things to watch that really amuses me is actually watching old episodes of America's Funniest People. So not America's Funniest Home Videos. It's the spin-off show. America's Funniest People was, I think that when they made America's Funniest Home Videos.
I know what you're talking about.
They just got access to video. People just got access to video cameras, right? For the first time, it was sort of more easily possessed. So, like, what would happen is that I'm sure a lot of the things that America's Funniest Home Videos got on were, like, bloopers, right? But then there's, like, a lot of other people who, for the first time, video themselves, and they just be doing, like, stupid faces and be, like, bad impressions and then, like, really poorly edited comedy routines. And, like, you can't put that in America's Funniest Home Videos. So, like, what will we do with this? I guess we'll do America's Funniest People. And it is just, like, the most embarrassingly stupid and thing in the world. It didn't last, but it's so bad and it's so dated and it's really, really weird to watch. And people being like, like moving their faces around, doing goofy shit in front of a camera, and it getting broadcast. And the idea that this was broadcast on primetime television at like 8:30 p.m.
Wow, we had some growing
network,
pains, didn't we?
Like, you would never even spend 2 seconds looking at this on a YouTube video or like a TikTok. You'd go right past it. But like, it's just funny that there was a time period when like the dumbest shit in the world, by people with video cameras, was being broadcast on a major network on prime time, like to millions of people. And it amuses me. I highly recommend.
That's the kind of shit I crave, man. And I don't mean to sound like pretentious or anything, but I can't do a lot of the popular like comedy films. They just don't really do it for me. But that kind of like absurd like nonsense, just it's
I
just
can't
perfect.
even think of the latest comedy film I've seen.
Dude,
I mean,
I don't know.
it's good stuff. It's just not for me, but that's the kind of humor. That's the kind of content.
Wet Hot American Summer.
That's a great.
Wet Hot American Summer. To sum up my sense of humor, I think that would be the one I would reference the most. Wet Hot American Summer.
Are you familiar with the comedy troupe The State? That's what all the people in that movie are derived from.
I thought it was Stella.
Well, so Stella is so the state predates that. The
Okay.
state was like they had like 9 or 10 cast members. They were all basically friends from NYU who had a sketch comedy group. They were given a sketch show on MTV called The State, which had everybody from like all the big people from America and How American Summer were on that. So that includes both the Stella troupe and the Rio 911 people, right?
Okay.
They were all in the same comedy group
Damn, I'm
initially,
so out of the
and then
loop.
they kind of splintered off and did their own things. But you should maybe check out The State. It's
I
very
might
funny.
have
and-
to.
but it has like 11 cast members. So picture like a combination of like the people from Stella along with like the people from like Rio 911 and stuff, like all in the same
Dope.
group basically.
I'm definitely down. I'll
Yeah,
check it out.
it's interesting. Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Randy.
Okay.
All right. What's Vaporwave?
I don't know. I thought you knew.
No, I don't know. I only have questions. I'm asking you.
This is why I've been rehearsing in case nobody here wants to talk to
All right,
me.
that's the most political answer.
I kind of want to know.
What is Vaporwave? What do I think? What do I tell people it is?
What is it?
I think it is a fascination with a nostalgia that never existed, which is kind of the whole thing.
Fair.
Right? It's a nostalgic for a time that honestly never really happened. Like it's the utopian version of the 80s that didn't happen, or dystopian, or whatever you want to call it, or of any era you want to, but it's also weirdly not there, which is like where like the dreamy aspect comes in. And then that's like the whole vibe of like the genre, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's a fair answer. Yeah.
You can kind of put everything in there, where it's just like a fake nostalgia.
Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe I
like
get.
a reworked reality.
Yeah, it's always just like it's like you're just lying about a story lying about a memory,
embellishing a memory,
lying about a memory or a daydream maybe or something or it's something that's
Hypnagogia.
promised. Well, I mean the other idea of something promised but never delivered, all that good stuff.
Right.
True.
So
The
that's
vaporware.
what it is.
I mean, that's what when I got into it. That's what it always was to me, and that's what I was presented to me, I guess. That's what I heard.
People are saying it's gaslighting music. That's pretty good.
Gets harder and harder to define, doesn't it?
Well,
Or not. I don't know.
I'm also
I think at its core, it's a remix art.
It's a remix
Sure.
art? Okay.
Yeah,
it's all about
it's remix music.
recontextualization, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I always
perfect
called
for
it, was
DJs.
recontextualization of ideas, emotions, and sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And,
True.
Again, like it's harder to define. Is like depends on how gatekeeper you want to get with it. I'm very much
true.
of a purist, where I think there's a very, very, very specific sound that I think if you lose that part, then I don't think it's necessarily vaporwave. And there's definitely people who are guilty of it that I'm like, I don't think so anymore. I definitely, there's not many. It's not like I have to I don't really care enough to fight or, there are a lot of adjacent people. I understand how they, are involved, but.
Right, like making music kind of in the pastiche of something that used to exist.
Yeah. Like that vibe. I get that. But to me, it was always clear. I was always astounded when people are like, oh no, this is, and I'm like, well, did we listen to the same, people? I guess not. Maybe I am just skewed, and I've listened to your St. Pepsi's, your Luxury Elites, the Macintosh Plus, and I listened to all of Blank Banshee and Echo Jams and Farside Virtual, and I heard
Farside Virtual. Okay.
Yeah, I heard all these similarities.
The old Vectroid stuff.
What's the similarities then? It's just because what's the similarities between Farside Virtual and St. Pepsi?
It's like this kind of cheesy cool moment,
right?
Cheesy cool moment.
Yeah, where it's like this. It is very cheesy, and it's something that you would show someone and be like, "This isn't cool," but then we like it for some reason.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of
Farside
kitschy. It's kind of
Virtual
campy.
Farside Virtual is asking a lot of questions about, like, your place in the world and the anxiety of technology around you. And at some point,
Fair.
like, when does this become, the background music starts in your life starts to become insidious? You know what I mean? Like things are starting to fall apart around you, and there's a lot of tension and anxiety in a lot of vaporwave music.
But like, even obviously, like, there are different quote like subgenres. Like, you get hit vibes and like Farside Virtual, but like, there are moments of hit vibes that you can hear in Farside Virtual, and almost like vice versa, where there's like these little, voice breaths or these little fragments of chops that you're like, yeah, like, I don't know, like, you can hear these moments, and there's slowed down stuff and clips and stories that are told and slowed down stuff and clips. Yeah, that's what vaporwave is.
So, Quiz, I think, is wanting to ask you, what makes your music vaporwave?
I hold true to the sampling part of vaporwave. I don't want to stop. And if I did, like, for the Riot stuff, like, I wanted to at least keep that, like, tonal thing in there with, like,
Gotcha.
Using at least the same things that they would use.
So you follow, like, a set of rules for how it's made.
For sure. At least for
That's fair.
I understand I skew, and I'm not going to say it's like a purist ideology of it, but I definitely think that, like, if I'm tagging it, then, like, it's on purpose. So there is
right.
that fake nostalgia aspect. There is like a story kind of aspect to it. There is a I love the sampling aspect big.
Mm-hmm.
After I forget which album. It must have been right before right before I started making Iconic Bitch. I vowed to never speed up or pitch up a sample ever again.
Good man.
And I haven't since.
Yeah. I always like the idea of vaporwave playing with reality. You know what I mean? Sort of like taking concepts and ideas and sounds and making them off and making them different and making people question. I think that's what art's supposed to do at the end of the day anyway, is just take reality and show you a different way of looking at it. You know what I mean? And I always that's kind of what I appreciate the most about all vaporwave in general.
Do you think you'll do a lot more original vocals since you've kind of broken that seal? Like, would you do like Dan Mason does?
I mean, I wouldn't do what Dan Mason does, I'll tell you that.
Fair. But, someone in chat asked.
No. I would love to try. I'd have to learn a lot more. Again, I've experimented with it. There's a few songs throughout my thing that, like, you can hear them. It's very, like, it's not usually like the forefront. There's not like I'm singing on a song. It's not like a chorus melody kind of thing.
Maybe some harmonization or like a short bit.
Yeah, some sort of thing I've done. But yeah, I'm experimenting with it. A lot of times I'll have a really good day where I'm really feeling it, and I'll write something and be like, this is cool. And then I'm like, all right, I have to write a second verse. And then I can never really get back in that moment. But yeah.
Interesting.
Very cool.
Yeah, interesting stuff. So, vaporwave, is it? What other thoughts do you have? What do you think of all the like the things like the live stuff or the playing out or the ElectroniCONs and such? What's your opinions about that? That's good. Should we continue to do that?
It's really. I mean, of course it's good. I'm not one of the ones who wants to keep this a secret. I think
it's difficult to keep it a secret. I think the thing that's difficult about keeping it a secret is it's such an active community that it's like you can't make it. All right. It's impossible to make something deeply mysterious if everybody just talks to each other. It's no longer mysterious anymore because there's a huge community where people exchange ideas, talk to each other, and know each other's names. So in a perfect world, you would have like vaporwave be completely unknowable, but that's impossible, right?
Mm-hmm. I think the sound is permeated enough to where enough people like that nostalgia kind of vibe, whether it's original or not. Like, I'm also not a pure. I don't think that like original vaporwave is like some sort of evil thing. I think it's definitely possible, and a lot of people succeed. A lot of people do succeed at it. Yeah, no, I like the live stuff's good, is great. I just think as long as we're all have the integrity of like not turning it into something different just to appease like someone else's rule. As long as we can all admit like desert sands feels warm at night. Like we want that in a room. We want to close out the night with groceries. We don't want to go see, like, we don't want this to turn into some weird pops music.
No,
which
we
is
do
not
not
necessarily
want
wrong.
that. No, but you're right. We do not. We also want it to remain with people and being controlled by people that care about it and are involved with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The worst thing you could do is like people that have nothing to do with the scene, have not invested their time and energy into creating this little world to kind of just come around and like do their own thing and siphon. You know what I mean? I have no problem with the idea of people being very successful from the scene or having successful businesses based around the scene, so long as they are the ones who are involved in it and it's not, you know, somebody else who saw it and was like, let me do a little thing. Usually that doesn't last though.
Let's make some money off these people.
To do a vaporwave thing without being involved in vaporwave, because there's so many there's like, you know, vaporwave scene is coded with so many different hieroglyphics that it's very difficult to read it and to understand it and to be able to decipher what's going to work and what won't work, what's for your particular thing without becoming involved in it. Sometimes you see people who are not, you know, interested in the way of thought that most vaporwave people have, and they try and like join up and they try and do stuff and they say, well, you know, you'll listen to this, you know, I'm a
They're the ones that have like a purple tinge over their picture and
just
go,
have,
is
like,
this
the exact way of
vaporwave?
thinking. I find that a lot of... Well, go ahead.
I was saying, personally, I think you are allowed to misinterpret it for like 2 years. And then if you stick around...
that's how
and then after that, it's like, all right, come on, man.
Because I think everybody, I think I'm guilty of that. I think everybody who gets into it is kind of like, oh, what is it? Like spaced out letters and shitty slowed down music or whatever? And you go like, oh no, okay, I get it. But like...
You have 2 years. You heard it here. You have 2 years to get to misinterpret it and to think you're doing something, to think that like, oh, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to show them that like I'm like a guy from this other scene and I can make vaporwave music too. Like I've seen that happen so many times where people come into the scene and they're guys, wait till you get a load of me and I'm going to make you all think differently about this. And then like,
and I kind of think you have to do that or else, you know, you'll never get past it. Like literally my first album is called Pioneer because it's literally me exploring it. Yeah. I'm like just being like, I don't know. I was really into it.
Cool.
And I purposely was like, I'm just going to go and see what I can do.
Yeah.
And specifically, I remember that like the most validation I got from those albums was Scott from Atlantis. He
Shout out
liked it.
Scott.
And I was like, okay, I think I'm in. I think I've done it. Yeah.
I think I did. I think I cracked
Very
it.
cool. Scott Michael is probably one of the best like vaporwave like archaeologists or archivists, I guess would be a better, more appropriate word.
What a fabulously eccentric figure he is.
Oh yeah.
That's another thing about like vaporwave in general is you gotta like most people who get involved in it are eccentrics to some degree. You know what I mean? And if you're not, you're probably not gonna last that long.
All right, Randy, if you could collaborate with anybody, who would it be?
Let's see, anybody. See, I have a lot of there's different like tiers of like.
Skeleton Lips.
Let's hear all the tiers.
Literal fantasy.
Well, that goes without saying.
Literal fantasy level, of course, would be like Daft Punk. I can't believe I haven't mentioned Disclosure, who's like probably
Disclosure is badass.
My favorite current artist.
Fuck
right
yeah,
now.
Disclosure.
Currently making music and touring and all that. Disclosure is right now.
Perfect.
Absolutely. I saw them in May. It's so just perfect. They're so good.
They've been around for a lot longer than most people think, too.
Yeah, I'd say so. You know, Daft Punk, Disclosure, obviously. A little, very intimidating. I'd love to work with St. Pepsi. I mean, that'd be crazy. Just as a personal, again, I'm just such a huge fan. It even makes me like, we hung out obviously in New York, and like, it still makes me like, I remember I think I turned to Groovy Kaiju. We were hanging out, and like, we were just hanging with Ryan, no big deal.
Right.
And I was just kind of like, how the fuck did I get here? Like,
it's crazy how cool they are too.
He is so
sweet.
Absolutely. I'm just like, I think, am I friends with St. Pepsi? Like, did that happen? Like, go tell myself that like 6 years ago. Like, it's insane. He played Carousel because of me.
Oh,
He
man.
played that song 'cause
That's
I was like,
cool.
play
The
that
man
song.
knows how to write a song. That
He's a
is
killer.
for fucking sure. And he's kind of always known how to do it. And that's a really weird thing too. And that's like to be so young initially too, and to like kind
Yeah.
of crack it so young. That doesn't happen very often in
It sure don't.
any music scene whatsoever. And so like I always wonder about like the
Thank you for
amount
the
of
donation.
pressure
No
and
true noise.
responsibility one must feel. Like, you know, you think about other successful artists, whether it be like George or DDS, and like, man, they were like chipping away at this for like years and years and years and years before they kind of broke. And like Ryan like really catapulted quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, he
That was so
did.
good.
I'm very, very successful very early, and that's a tough thing to do when you're like 21 or 22. That is like to grow up and have to like deal with like managers and like touring and pressure of like, you know, of working with a big label, big indie label. That's like a, man, like, you know, people wonder things like, oh, how come he hasn't released a new thing yet? How come he's like, it's fucking pressure. Like,
I know,
that's-
no
yeah.
shit, right? Poor
like
kid.
that's really
definitely
like
like
hard
saying,
to
yo.
like, you know, to be in the eye of everybody for like the last 10 years, you know, since you're like
I
a kid.
patiently wait. Again, you waited
It's
how
hard.
long after Hit Vibes until Prom King came out, and then, you know, it's good. I trust it. I don't care. I'm also still content on his older material to be like, yeah, I'll just keep listening to this on repeat. Like, I don't need
Right.
Fucking dicks, man. Fucking crap.
I have a list of, like,
Killed it.
people in the community that I would love to work with, obviously, but you know, that's a long list.
It's hard. I don't
On the
know.
note of what you
Well, I
just
think
brought
it's
up
hard.
with Ryan,
I-
Quiz wants to know if you have any memorable meetings or interactions at Econ you want to talk about.
I mean, endless.
I know you had like a several-hour epic Econ recap broadcast, so
We
if
did.
you want to give us the
And a two-parter.
TLDR on that, yeah.
I have one. Okay, well, let's see. Almost cried seeing Enjoy Yourself in person, for real. Like that set, St. Pepsi set was so good. Meeting people specifically. I've been friends with Nano Shrine since I got in. He's very much a contemporary.
Love
and
Nano
we kind of got to hang out the first one, but not to this extent. So that was finally like, oh my god, thank God, we finally get to hang out, go to dinner, and do stuff. Same like and Data Girl being like a newer addition into our like crew, and that was just
Those are some
couldn't
incredibly
be
skilled people
the
right
coolest,
there.
like so cool,
Very cool,
perfect,
very
perfect
personable.
people. I mean, Isaac, we had dinner that one night, and that
Yeah.
was so sick.
That was lots of fun.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed the insight that you guys gave me, and yeah,
Fucking
John
just-
is just
he's a real person.
he's a wild card.
Oh, I love John. He's the best.
Thanks for the donation.
So
dude.
endlessly amusing and smart.
Like
The
yeah,
iconic
love
Data Girl in 3D Blast picture.
The picture happened.
The meme.
Specifically, I had been talking with Groovy. Again, Groovy's one of the OG people that
Love
I
that
listened
guy.
to when I first started, and we hung out a very long time at the actual event. Obviously, we
Hanging
hung out
out
at
with
the tape swap.
Groovy is so much fun. Just the
Unmatchable.
positivity and just getting to hear all of their insight and their private thoughts is a real treat.
Yeah, you can hear him literally manipulate you during the conversation because he's so smart. He's already learned
He
all
is.
these tricks.
But then
You
he'll
can
drop
hear
a
him.
wild card and be like, "Hey, what's your favorite food?"
And he'd be like, "Who do you hate?" And I'm like, "Now we're talking my language."
Are you lulling me into a false sense of security, sir?
Yeah,
Who do
he
you
groomed
hate?
me. He groomed the shit out of me.
Groomed me. You got to hang out with
Groomy Kaiju.
you got to hang out with my buddy
Oh, no.
Fanta Cat as well a little bit, right?
A little bit. She danced to the I Just Play
I saw that.
Attention by New Jeans. I
Yeah.
mean, I knew, I guess I assumed she'd be there. And I was shown that song from my friend, Alex, who actually didn't get to be there for my set. And I played it because I was like, Alex is going to be there. Plus, I love this song. And I was like, oh, yeah, because then I saw Fanta Cat post something about it on her Instagram. She was dancing to it. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I played it, and here she runs up and does the whole choreography to it. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is fucking sick.
Badass dancer. Very, very intelligent.
Oh, good.
Very skilled, and she can dance too. Amazing person at Fanta Cat.
I mean, another Econ 3 moment, obviously. I actually was on an Econ 3 stage. Me and Dan shared our running shout-out tradition. he shouted me out on every Econ stage during his song, right before he plays Wishful Thinking.
Oh,
which was
very cool.
Yeah.
That was a tearjerker of a set.
Oh man, Dan's
very
amazing.
glad I got to be there for that.
Yeah.
I think one of the underrated moments of Econ was like our Airbnb crew. Like we never took a picture together. We never
Oh damn.
We're like, hey
Disappointing.
guys, we have a few of those videos I took the first night, but like, man, that is such a. I left New York was just like my friends are so cool.
Yeah,
They're so
right?
much better than everyone else's friends. It's crazy.
It's just like, wow, you guys are real, and you're thousands of miles away from where you actually
how about
belong.
the fact? Wasn't that the thing about this whole thing? Is like you would never, none of us would know each other without it. Isn't that crazy?
Are we the new scene that
crazy.
celebrates itself?
We are the new
Yes.
scene that celebrates itself.
Well, so tough question for you. If you could change anything about the way the scene operates, what would it be?
God, I could have went for a riff there, and I was scared. I'm scared that I almost went for it too. Let's see.
I got the air horns ready. Go
What's
for it.
happening right now?
No, it's not. It's not a good riff.
Oh, I'll put the flames away then.
Quiz knows. Quiz knows exactly where I was gonna go with that. If I could change something,
Quiz.
about the scene is run. I don't know. I don't necessarily ever. I mean, it's asking a lot, right? Like, I don't know. What's wrong with it, really?
How would you
got-
improve Vaporwave?
I think. Oh God, I don't know. It's pretty good. Like, what? Oh, this is. Yeah, I would close down Pacific Plaza. Yeah, for sure. I would close down all the labels.
Right.
Eliminate Maddie. Yeah.
No
A lot of
more
good-
physicals.
God, that's a good question.
We'll come back
I'm
to
sure
it.
I have like hot takes here and there about certain maybe people or things, but like, I'm having a good time. Maybe
He
I'm
would
just
bring
off
back
I'm still
C-Punk.
riding off the fumes of New York, but it's. I mean,
Is it fair to say that Vaporwave is here to stay?
here to stay.
Seems that
I
way.
think my only thing is I think like sometimes it'll get away from itself a little bit too much that I'm
Yeah.
more comfortable like admitting that I don't like this. So I'm like, that's not what I don't like, But
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
art, right? It's all subjective. It's okay to dislike something. It's okay to
Well, right.
loudly proclaim that you dislike something. Nobody's getting hurt. It's just opinions,
Well,
man.
I mean, for
yes,
like
they
being
are
around
getting
for-
hurt.
I mean, listen, for being around now 10 years, like, as far as getting, or longer than that, sorry, like, as far as getting away from itself, I mean, it clearly doesn't get too far away from itself. You know what I mean? Like, it's 12 years, and it's still not too far away from itself.
Well, yeah, like it's like a pizza. Like, what if you opened a pizza place and 10 years later you were serving like apple pie, and you're like, well, it's a fucking pie still, and you're like, yeah, but you know what I meant. You know what
Yeah,
I
but-
want.
But you might have the original
Yeah,
pie,
that's a
and
pretty
then
good
also
metaphor.
different versions of the pie with multiple ingredients, different sizes. Sometimes there's a personal pie that's for smaller, and then there's a really big pie that
You
you
gotta
share
make a
with lot of
vegan
people,
pie.
and there's different like things. Maybe you've expanded the building, you've changed the decorations a little bit. Still the same thing, but still the same owners.
Well, I'm just saying, maybe if the pie's a little, I'm like, okay, well, it went a little too far for my liking.
Well, okay, but don't order that one. There's other ones on the menu,
No.
right?
Well, you asked me what I'd change.
You want them to stop, don't you?
Obviously, again, like, it's nothing to like really write home about, but there are just moments when I'm just like, oh, I don't really think so, but whatever.
What would
Well,
you like? What would you like to hear more of?
Um,
You know, we can keep it positive here on Hot Takes.
I know it's very funny for me to be like quote purist, and then for like my purist view to be like fucking VHS,
No more break
more
beats.
more like VHS-y future funk.
Yeah.
Like it's very
Right.
funny because I feel like that was a time where people were like, "That's too far, man," you
Right.
know. And so it's very funny for that to be
Vaporwave.
my version of like, go back to the roots.
You can never go back to anything ever again once it happens, for the most part. Like, everything has to continue to keep moving, or else sometimes... I said that if sometimes things remain the same as they were several years ago, it might not still be around. You know what I mean? It might just have been absorbed into another movement.
I will say that, like, even like my own taste
that's a
is
good
probably
one,
like
Lux.
super dated. I don't keep up with it as I should, so it might even be fun. Like, I don't know. This is, you know.
Lux
I don't
says,
really
let's go
have-
back to Keats Collective era future funk, though. I
For
co-sign
real
that.
though. Hey,
I
hello.
co-sign that hard.
Hello.
And obviously, I dick ride him super hard, but the new Cyan Blue is like the newest future funk that I'll fuck with. Other than that, I really miss Keats Collective, man.
Yeah, you're
man.
wrong. Future
Come
Funk
on,
is
man.
great, and honestly, the producers are
That's some
getting
good shit.
very creative, and there's a lot of cool people making it these days that are trying very hard to do interesting things and are really sharpening their teeth and making some very cool music, in my opinion, within that world. And I always think you're just so silly for being like, you don't need to listen to Future Funk. I think
I
you're
agree.
silly.
I might be picky, but
people are
I agree
working
with
very
you.
hard to try and do different things and still stay true to the ideas, sounds, and concepts. I think
I
people
love
are
future
really
funk.
doing interesting stuff.
I love just, you know, dance music in general. So like, even as far as like, even when, here's the thing, even when like stuff like gets away from itself a little too far, doesn't mean it's bad. And I'm not
True.
saying it's bad music, because a lot of it's like, okay, is this future funk anymore? I don't know. It's still fucking good.
Right.
Like,
Whatever the fuck it is.
yeah, whatever you want to call this. Like, I understand what, like, where it's from. Again, I'm not even really a purist when I produce stuff either, but like, same with like Vaporwave. If it gets a little too, you know, when you just have like ambient music that's like, oh, it's Vaporwave, I'm like,
Oh, yeah. I
what
feel
about
that.
it? It's just
That's
ambient,
like-
right? Isn't that just ambient?
I've listened to a lot of the
Yeah,
Dream
right.
Catalog comps, and I'm like, this sounds like Tim Hecker or Illuvium. Like,
Which again is
I
like,
fuck
all
with
right,
it.
maybe it's in like the same scene. So I guess
Quiz
I can
has
see
like
why
a
it's
billion
okay.
questions he wants me to
Get
ask
it,
you.
lightning it.
Quiz wants to
Lightning
know
it.
what you think about barber beats, and he wants you to name drop some artists that are Vaporwave that you like from the past 2 to 3 years. Shout out
I
Quiz
don't know
for the good
anything
questions.
about. I have never heard of a Barber Beats release in my life, and I'm not even kidding. I barely know what it is. I think it's got something to do with.
I mean,
Haircuts
I
for Men,
admitted
and
on the
that
last
can't
stream
be
I'm not
good.
crazy about it, but, you know, it's not bad.
Yeah,
I like.
it's got something to do
all
with Haircuts for
Vaporwave
Men, and that
and
can't be good.
I wish I was as open-minded as you are, Chris.
Well, I'm not going to miss out on anything.
And I love that about you.
That's my whole thing. I'm not going to miss out on anything.
I will never get to the point where
I-
someone's like, you sound like you're old, I promise, but, you know.
I love it. I love every subgenre of Vaporwave and all the nascent Vaporwave offshoots, whether that be Barber Beats, whether that be Dream Punk, whether that be Slush Wave, whether that be Future
I'm sure there's
Funk,
some phenomenal
Knuckle
barber
Jams,
beats. I just
Signal
haven't
Wave,
experienced
all
yet.
that stuff. I am like always just really excited about all the different things that people do under the umbrella or next to the umbrella, I guess. It's always interesting to me. There's always something to learn. There's
Next to
something
the
interesting
umbrella
going
is
on.
such a good
Absolutely.
term.
Next
What
All
was
right,
the
bro.
second part of that question?
Yeah, name drop some artists from the past 2 to 3 years that you fuck with.
From the past 2 to 3 years.
Yeah,
Ugh.
new Vaporwave artists.
Oh God, I don't even know if I've listened to any.
Oh, man.
2 to 3 years. That was what, 2019.
Come on,
sir.
man.
I listened to a new release from like, oh boy. Besides Cyan, like after a certain point, the only music I kept up with in the scene is just people I knew.
I got you.
Like I've heard.
So
the
guys,
new
good.
Christ.
The best way for Randy to discover your music is to be friends with him.
Go
It's
on
not-
his
it's
stream,
Not wrong.
jump in his
All right.
jump in
That's
his
fair.
after calls, turn your mic way fucking loud, and
Oh,
he'll never
am
forget
I-
you.
Hey, no joke. I did listen to the new Cyan, listen to the new Discoholic, the new Christ, the new Dan. Like I'm.
There you
people are all
go.
that.
There you go. You're up on the
Yeah,
top of the
you
pops.
listened to the Doom Trip compilation and everything, right?
That's true. God,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There must be somebody.
That's why I was like,
Somebody who
I was very
recognized
honored because
blasting.
I was very honored because Randy was like, "Yo, your song of the Doom Trip
Yeah, you didn't
compilation
even
is
respond.
thick,"
That
and I was
comp
like,
was
"I
sick.
didn't. I'm
No,
not.
you left me on red for like a month.
You don't understand that that's
3 to
like
5
what I
business
do.
days, man.
I
get
don't
that.
mean
I know.
anything by it, but like
You're busy.
I figured.
It's just kind of like a running
Yeah,
joke at this point.
Randy, I would never intentionally be
I
trying
know,
to
I don't
slight you.
think so.
I please do not think so. And that goes for everybody, whoever
I
sends
know-
me messages.
I would
You
never.
guys, like, you don't even understand. Like, people don't get response. Isaac can tell. Isaac can vouch for this. It takes me like days, sometimes weeks, to get back to people. But it doesn't mean I don't love you. But I get a lot of messages, and I'm not really I can't handle all the talking.
Okay, so
God, I'm
Rude
trying
Dog 04 has a pretty good one that kind of dovetails off of that. What is the next?
I can't believe you were. I'm so sad. Please, Randy, do not be
I
offended
wasn't
by
actually
that.
mad. No, I figured.
I was.
It's fine.
Okay.
Rudog04, what is the next Vaporwave subgenre that is underrated in the scene today?
Oh, we have to work on Tumblewave as a unit. We have to
Yes,
get
we do.
Tumblewave,
Shout out
we have to get it in the
GMX
mix.
Radio.
We have to go hard, and that's my fault. You know, no one else to blame but me, really. But man, we have to do that again. It's so good. Anything. I hate country music, and Tumblewave is the future.
If you can make it work, I applaud you.
Hey, we did the compilation, and we kind of were like, here it is, and we fucked off. There's a few.
Can you briefly describe what Tumblewave is for Fighting Island?
Tumblewave is country vaporwave, and there's two
boy.
kinds. There's the night and the day. You have the day, which is like open fields, plains, prairies. That's going to be your more ambient stuff, your more echo jammy stuff. Then you have the nightlife, right? You got casinos, bull riding. You got fucking, rootin' tootin' saloons. That's going to be your future punk. That's going to be your dancey stuff. That's
Oh,
good.
boy.
I mean, we're making Vaporwave about, solar power and that sort of thing, climate change. Why not?
Plastic Cactus, This is Tumblewave compilation. That's
Very
our,
cool.
Yeah, we coined that term.
How long ago did you do that? Because people in
term,
chat are saying it's been around for a minute.
We coined that term in like 2016.
Wasn't it?
Wow. Educate me, please.
We were just jokingly around, and we were like, here, I have the link. Here it is.
That's a good point. Yeah, Mesh should drop some Tumblewave. He'd be great at it.
And it was the artist, a Replica Federation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we were in. It was an old 3D cast, and he was on. We used to be buds back in the day.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it's the first track is literally like that conversation where just like it's I don't know, it's country vaporwave, and he goes Tumblewave, and we're all like, yeah,
Nice.
that's the one.
Also, shout out 3D Cast, the original Vaporwave podcast.
Yeah, dead as a doornail, baby. Let's bring that back. Fuck FunnyNet.
Damn. Fuck FunnyNet. You heard it on Hot Takes, and I didn't even have to say it.
Wow.
Speaking of which, we're almost done, guys. We got about 5 minutes till we got to wrap up. We like to give you the floor to shout out anyone you want, promote anything you want, and just say anything you want.
Awesome. All right, so I stream right now. We're streaming Thursday mornings and Sunday mornings. I call it the third best live stream. It's kind of a hang. We just hang out. Sometimes I'll ask for Twitter questions or Twitter submissions, or just like, hey, we're gonna do, I want everyone's favorite this, or take a picture of this, and we'll go through it and talk about it. It's 10 a.m. in the morning, and it's very fun. I've been streaming every other, randomly throughout the week, so maybe some bonus stuff, but
Sick.
yeah, definitely want to do twitch.tv/3D_blast.
Very
This
cool.
is my Twitch. You just follow that. Very
Some
good.
crazy characters in that chat. Definitely worth
Yeah, you can see a
sliding
lot of
through.
familiar faces either watching or showing up. We just hung out with Lux the other day. She was arguing with us about one-hit wonders, Cyan Blue, Discoholic, Christ.
when's the next stream?
usuals.
When's the next stream?
Should be Thursday.
Oh, Thursday?
I think Thursday we're gonna.
Sick.
If I don't get to
Stop
something
by.
sooner, I think Thursday we're definitely gonna review the Groove Continental videos.
I
nice.
don't know how you
Stop
have
by.
the
I
energy
should
to
be
stream
around
that
Thursday.
often. I've got respect.
Because it's fun.
It is.
Honestly, I've been having a blast.
3D blast?
I 3D blast.
LMAO.
I was very nervous to do the first episode because I was like, will people fucking watch? And they did, and so we've been keep going.
There you go.
We've been keep going.
If that's not a statement, I don't know what is.
Yeah. yeah. Sometimes we did one. We were trying to do a whole like, is this vaporwave argument? And I had a ton
I remember
of
clips from that.
submissions.
That was fun.
Well, here's the thing. I had a ton of submissions, and then I was like, oh, hey, by the way, I added a thing where you can like queue up your own videos. And then we just derailed, and I didn't look at a single one, and we just watched one-hit wonders for the
Hey,
rest.
that's
of the time.
that's how you know it's good, though, man. When you just get on
hey.
something and keep it rolling.
That's
Yeah,
that's
agreed.
yeah. So it's good.
Sick.
But
Anything
yeah,
else you want to shout out or promote, dog?
Listen to my music, please, for the love of Christ. Love of John. You can check it out on Spotify. 3D Blast at Bandcamp.com. 3D space blast. Huge songs. The 2 newest songs were the League of Legends commission. Very dope. Mwah. Side to side. Court walk. Check out everything. Check out Music Here to Stay. Yeah, I have we'll have to do a part 2.
Yeah,
Of course.
Sounds good to me. I'm definitely
Yeah,
gonna
we don't
stop
have
by
to say
that
goodbye.
stream
It's
on
not over.
Thursday.
For sure. It's in the morning. A lot of people, again, I was...
Wait, it's in the morning? What time?
It's at 10 a.m.
Oh, that's never mind.
Yep. I was skeptical of who'd show up, but a lot of people were like, fuck it, I'm at work.
I'm
And I
always
was
so
like,
jealous.
cool.
I'm at work, and I'm like, God damn it, this looks like so much fun.
It's a fun time. I'm surprised people show up. Half the time Lux is like, I'm at Target.
Right. I'm returning something. I've got to tune in. Can't miss a moment. She does that in real life, y'all. Stands at the front at every show. She does.
I'm trying to think of anything else. Yeah, I think just the stream is in general. Again, if you're here for about FunnyNet, I know we didn't necessarily talk about it. It is still on hiatus. Unfortunately, schedules changed. We all still like each other. Don't worry. Just shit happened. Same with free samples. We don't know. Schedule's up in the air. This is why I'm doing stuff in the morning now. I don't want to start anything and then have it changed later. So
Super
it might
fair.
be a while. But I think that's got to be it.
Support your
Anything
local
else?
3D Blast.
Please. Thanks for having me on, honestly.
Oh, man, it was a long time. It was overdue.
Listen, everybody's over.
You won't respond to my fucking DMs.
It was Chris's idea.
It's not DM was a compliment about my song too.
I know. I was like, yo, cool. And you were just like, I don't give a fuck.
Guys,
Right.
man, I really hope people don't think the same way that you do about this. It takes me a long time to get back to people sometimes.
No, it's all fine. Yeah, thanks. And thanks everyone in the chat. It means a lot.
Yeah, thank you
honestly,
guys.
like, any questions you actually have for me that like aren't covered you can show up in my chat and just ask it, and I will fucking answer it. So yeah.
Hell yeah. 3D Blast, everybody. Chris, you wanna go?
Sure. Yeah.
Do it.
This Friday, I will be DJing in Brooklyn at Nostalgia Salon, and you should come. I will play a bunch of fun music. It will be a fun, good time in old New York City on Friday night from, I think, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. Here are some ticket links for that if you like. You should definitely stop by because, man, how fun is it to go to a Vaporwave dance party? It's going to be full of fun weirdos. You'll make friends. You'll dance. I'll say hi to you. It'll be a very beautiful time. You got to go. I mean, it's so fun. And this party gets pretty packed, so like you're going to want to check it out. It's so fun. Come to New York City, specifically
Jealous.
Brooklyn, and you can look at that link for more information. It's going to be at 314 Shoals Street and Brooklyn, New York City. New York. It's a hell of a time when Skeleton Lipstick is DJing there. So do that. Aside from that, got the Doom Trip compilation. There's a song on that. You can, of course, go purchase my vinyl record, Flows the Melts from Needle Juice Records. And then also you can go get the melodic ambient album, Polymath Vampire from Business Casual. And got a new album. It's pretty much done. This is now the 4th time I've written an album. And so I've scrapped the first 3 that I've written, and this one will be the good one. And I am still going to call it Kingdom of Death, and it should be pretty good. And we just organizing that and then sending it off to the label. So that
Can't wait to hear it.
Yeah,
If you're going to scrap a whole album and then redo it from the ground up, it's got to be
3
good.
albums now, sir. Correction, there are 3 albums I've scrapped before this one.
Yeah, but I wasn't running a podcast with you during the other ones.
You were probably running the podcast. I mean, it's been working on it for like 2.5 years.
I'm just
so-
joking. I still can't wait to hear it.
Oh, thank you. That's good. Oh, you could talk about the Vapor Space thing.
For sure. So we got coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend in St. Louis, Missouri, Terminally Hot. Thrown by, of course, very dear friend of the show, Vapor Space St. Louis. That's Ronnie and Sound Market. So Sound Market's not on the bill, but of course he's going to be there. It is Saturday, September 24 at 9:30 p.m. Eastern at Platypus in St. Louis, Missouri, featuring myself, Dr. Chris, Tuwa, and Stack Overflow. So get on down to St. Louis if you want to see us, if you want to see the Hot Takes Boys IRL. About to start working on that set. Very, very excited about what I'm cooking up. Other than that, the same weekend, we got Latin All-Stars featuring Luxury Elite. All right. The 23rd, 24th, and 25th of September at Vapor Memories, probably Twitch and YouTube. Latin All-Stars, of course, Lux is an ambassador. And what we're doing for that event is actually a DJ set by me. I mixed a bunch of Lux's. Yeah, it was actually something I did a long time ago. She sent a bunch of her favorite songs from her favorite albums, and I mixed them together into one continuous 30-minute set. And that's going to be premiering the night of the 23rd, which I believe is a Friday night on Latin All-Stars at Vapor Memories, Twitch, and YouTube. Very excited about that. Other than that, just wrapped up some sets at a local Psych Fest. Very cool, lots of lo-fi house music, and I opened for Aurograph a couple weeks ago as well. Great guy. Loved hanging out with Aurograph. Putting something very, very special together. If any of y'all have been following us on socials, you've seen the little clips I got of various former guests with their opinions and statements, and so just putting something special together with all that. But that's besides the other more high priority stuff. Thank you so much for tuning in. I think that covers it all. We're so excited that we got to spend the evening with you, Randy. Thank you for bringing your personality to Hot Takes. We will see you guys in 2 weeks. That's Monday, September 26th at the regular time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, with Drink Your Tears in 2 weeks. Hell yeah. Guys, thank you so much, as always. And if you feel led, don't be afraid to hit that donate button. And if they are live, we're going to raid Nano Shrine.
Yes!
Everybody, have a good night and don't go anywhere.
Nano, he's making a game about me. We didn't even talk about it.
We didn't talk about Randy Blaster. What the fuck?
Thing he's working on?
So if you guys want to see Randy Blaster 3D IRL, just stick around for a few minutes and have a good night.
Good night.
How fun.
Raid has been created.
He's doing it. He's doing it.
1420. Ooh, okay.
Edit this part out of the VOD.
Yeah, we'll edit this out.
I'm just
All right, we're just going to raid now, and good night, everybody.